Okay, but yeah, we're almost at the halfway point. Just not there quite yet. But that also means it should be about time for the festival slash aka spooky shit kicking in. So we'll see. Who knows? Maybe my guesstimation about taking matters into our own hands will be proven correct. But we'll have to see. Let's load in and get back to it. Okay, continue. Let's get back to it. I went home and washed the day's sweat off in the shower. Normally, I could reset everything by taking a shower and forgetting all the bad things. But that didn't happen today. I got out of the shower to find fresh underwear placed neatly in the laundry basket. Normally, I didn't stop to think about it, but today I felt happy at my mother's consideration. At the same time, however, it made me realize how much Satoko must be suffering. At the very moment I was appreciating this gentle kindness, Satoko might be being bruised by her uncle's cruel words. And possibly hands, based on what we've seen. Also actually did all the story and event stuff. I've been meaning to an HSR, got flowing night laws or something. And an accidental link shot upgrade. Still here. Yeah, that's all good. But hey, good job on getting all the story and event stuff you've been meaning to do. I just recently caught up on all that myself. It feels good. But also, seriously, double thumbs up on getting that card. That light cone. Let's go. I went up to the second floor and shut myself in my bedroom. Then, facing my desk, I folded my arms. My topic of thought, of course, was Satoko. We'd thought that if we could just get a public agency to intervene in the right way, the problem would be solved. But with what Coach said, I didn't think it would be so easy. Satoko was obstinate, and she would stubbornly deny the abuse, and try to endure it. And that was an act of atonement towards Satoshi, who had protected her before and then ran away. As long as she thought that way, the situation wouldn't be so simple. But earlier, before Coach, I made a clear declaration. If I thought Satoko was in danger, then I would do what I had to. In the end, that meant I was just going to wait and see, too. Nevertheless, I thought I'd drawn a clearer line than Coach or my friends had. If the time came, I would report it. Over the phone. Given Satoko's personality, she might criticize me if she found out. But I believed it was ultimately the best decision. Wait, Keiichi Maibara. Would that really be all it took for the problem to end? Say that I reported it to a public agency, like the Child's Consultation Center. What if they stuck to their wait-and-see attitude, like last year again? Last year, they decided to do just that, and the situation improved temporarily, but then the aunt, thinking herself a laughingstock, increased her tormenting in secret. In the end, things became more underhanded than ever before. This year it was her uncle. I had just seen him for the first time today, but the man seemed much more direct, much more violent than the word underhanded could imply. Also played a bit of Zenless, no news on polls yet, but it seems like it doesn't give me nausea and headaches from motion blur. That's awesome. Here's hoping it stays that way. Double thumbs up. He wasn't like their aunt. No, not that subtle. He was more direct. He might also assault her with punches and kicks. That could easily be discerned from the bruises and such I saw on Satoko's body. Shit. You're too naive, Keiichi Maibara. However heroic it may seem to report what was happening, if it doesn't save her, then it doesn't mean anything. Reporting things to a public agency was only one option, and leaving everything to them would be dangerous. We would need something more to guarantee Satoko's safety. I scratched madly at my head, thinking, then tilted it back, wanting at least a little bit of calm. The memories of angry arguing with my friends today came to mind. I was embarrassed that I hadn't realized it until Rena said something. She was right. My house is big. Compared to all the houses with the straw-thatched roofs in Hinamizawa, it was really big. We did actually have empty rooms. I've never thought that we were affluent, but also never that we were poor. I just didn't admit it because people would think I was arrogant. But maybe my family really is wealthy. We had a few rooms we could lend to Satoko. The guest rooms are only in use when people related to my dad's job come and stay every once in a while. Plus, if we cleaned up a few of the rooms my dad uses for storage, they could work for her as well. As for food expenses, that might have been a more serious problem than a kid like me could imagine. Lunch every day would be manageable. All of our friends would just have to bring a little bit more for lunch than they usually did. With everyone pecking at everyone else's food anyway, it would be manageable. For breakfast and dinner, though, that would have to be up to Mom. I would need to convince her to lend Satoko more than just a room. Of course, I don't even think convincing her of that would be easy. About how much did it cost for one person to eat? How many tens of thousands of yen per month? They couldn't complain about it if I shouldered that, could they? I only had 10 or 20,000 yen in savings, but it was something. I actually had even more thanks to New Year's gifts and such, but my parents had taken all that and put it into a fixed time deposit. If I could get access to that, it should add up to a lot of money. And if I got that far, I should ask Mion and Rena to share some of the burden. Of course, I wouldn't depend on that. Rena got mad at me, didn't she? About how I shouldn't just shove responsibility onto others. I'd have to ask for help. Even so, I'd basically be saving her myself. I would follow through on it. Oh, but it wouldn't only be food expenses. There were a lot of other things that you couldn't do without, like baths and laundry. My mother was awfully methodical and strict about cutting out inefficiencies, and for once, that was troublesome. She might even make reference to the money it would cost for the detergent Satoko would use for her own clothes. I couldn't think only about food expenses. I needed more money. Hey, wait, Keiichi Maibara, since when was all this about money? Even if you could afford it, you would need your parents' permission first. They'd be looking after a young girl for a really long time. What would I say to persuade them? Just calm down a little bit, Keiichi Maibara, and you'll realize right away that you can't. Even if you asked them seriously, they would tell you to call the police. Even if you manage to gain their empathy, why should the Maibara family have to shoulder all of the burden by itself? That's what would happen. That was it. It was very sad and frustrating, but no matter how much I wanted to help, my resolution alone couldn't save anything. Our kids, are they really this powerless? I felt frustrated. I believed my feelings were stronger than anyone else's. I even thought that they were stronger than Coach's. And yet, at that point, there were 2 knocks at my door, and Mom poked her head inside. Were you awake? I've been calling you for dinner for a while. Oh, yeah, I'm coming. As someone financially dependent on his parents, I shouldn't say this, but I just sat around doing nothing, and food suddenly appeared. It felt so natural to me that I shamelessly thought of it as the responsibility of the parents who gave birth to me. But when I realized that natural thing was actually a right, I came to realize just how hard it was to grant that privilege to others. Even the boring meal in front of me, no better than it ever was, had more meaning than that tonight. There was food for 3 on the table right now. For Dad, for Mom, and for me. I couldn't imagine how hard it would be to add another place at the table. I mean, you have 4 chairs in the picture, so I mean, it might be doable. Think, Keiji Maibara. If it was hard to make food for 4, then just think about how 4 people could eat food made for 3. Oh. I changed around the way I thought, and with that I began to consider an unthinkably bold plan. That's right. I didn't need to get my parents' permission. Yeah, I mean, you probably would, but she would just live here in secret. I don't know if you could get away with that, but I mean, it's better than the alternative that she's currently dealing with, but I don't know if you could get away with that, brah. I got upset when I found out a while ago. But if I remembered right, if you climbed out the window, then shimmied down the first floor roof or the gutter, you could go in and out of the house directly from my room. Satoko's physical ability far surpassed my own, so it would be even easier for her. I hadn't even thought about it, but her living here secretly was actually a necessity. I'd only have to bring Satoko to my house when the public agency said they would wait and see. In other words, if Satoko's uncle continued to be her guardian. If, in such a situation... Oh, fuck. Don't know where that came from. If, in such a situation, word got out that she was here, her uncle would barge in and drag Satoko back with him. Her uncle was her rightful guardian, so my parents would hand her over without an argument, no doubt. So, I needed to keep it a secret that she was living here. If it needs to be a secret, then having my parents' help would mean a lot, but... gotta deceive your allies first, like they always say. Always? They? Say it? Like? First? Always? Sorry. Okay. Persuading my parents was an unrealistic proposition. So I'll search for a way to have her live here in secret. I am convinced that's gonna backfire, buddy. When I was around, she would just have to be really quiet in my room on the 2nd floor. The issue was the daytime. If she was hiding from her uncle, then she shouldn't go to school. It might be lonely, but not going would be the better option. I could easily teach Satoko the stuff she learns in her grade. Actually, during school, I mostly help all the younger kids out rather than studying my own stuff. which is funny when he really doesn't have that many functioning brain cells. Anyway, during the day, I would need to go to school, so I wouldn't be at home. My parents respected my privacy now that I was this age, so they wouldn't go snooping around in my room while I was gone. I think. If she holed herself up in my room, it would be okay, right? If my parents did come, thanks to where the second floor was, she could hear their approach from the sound of them coming up the stairs. And there would be a little bit of time before they got all the way up. I estimated a few seconds, that she would be able to hide herself in the closet. Wait, Keiichi. Something doesn't make sense. If she can't go to school, then what'll she do for lunch? Calm down already. I could just leave her my own lunch, couldn't I? I should just go to school without lunch and get everyone else to split theirs with me. Okay, that's good. No more contradictions or oversights, right? I mean, the main contradiction... I'm hearing a lot of dice rolls there, bud, right? Lots of stealth checks. Lots of deception checks. But, I mean, right now, your main oversight, I would say, is... Well, your mom would notice that you didn't leave with your lunch. So, I don't know how you'd get away with that, bruh. Oh, breakfast and dinner. I could somehow get her to go without breakfast. I could go with 2 meals a day when I sleep in on Sundays, after all. Every night, I'd pretend as though I had a bigger appetite, then ask for a bigger helping. How would you sneak it up to your room? You're just adding more dice rolls here. That a lot of these are... It's like, okay, I see where you're getting at, and now you're kind of falling apart on the food part. So, keep thinking. Then I could just somehow give part of that to Satoko. Hide her under the table. Feed her like a dog with scraps under the table. That sounds so bad. But yeah, I don't even know how you'd sneak her under the table. Anyway. As a test, I stood up from my seat with my plate of fish in my hands. What's wrong, Keiichi? Sit down and eat your food. Well, I'm kind of not in a good mood. Could I eat up in my room? You'll make a mess. Eat dinner at the dinner table. Shit! Sorry. Hey, wait. I only tried to take away 1 plate of fish and they ganged up on me? Yeah, I was gonna be like, what are the usual rules about... Do you often have food in your room? Like, what? In reality, it was impossible for me to smuggle food away without my parents knowing about it. But it must have been worth taking the time to think about. There must be some trick, some method to avoid them realizing. Yeah, I mean, at least you did a tiny, simple test, to, you know, realize, okay, it's not going to be that easy. Even if I can't think of one today, I might think of one tomorrow. Good. Don't be impulsive, just think. My appetite was rapidly fading, so I finished early and went back to my room. I went back there and tried to think about it from Satoko's point of view. Immediate natural one, yeah. For example, let's say my parents were coming up the stairs right now. I've got to hide. I opened the closet. Clatter, clatter. It didn't open quietly. Hey, wait. Didn't it always open real smooth and quiet? Why was it suddenly doing this now? Concern. Was this house even structurally safe? Was it already showing signs of dilapidation? Dude, your house looks like practically, like almost brand spanking new, like y'all are the first living in it. I don't think it's that. Or were the hinges just not greased well enough? Could I just apply some lubricating wax? The sound itself may have been soft, but it left me uneasy as to whether my parents would detect it happening when they climbed the stairs. But this was an easy problem. I could do something about it. I just had to fix it up a little bit so it didn't make noise anymore. For now, I'll close myself in the closet as though I'd successfully hid. I basically always left my futon out on the floor. I couldn't think of any real reason my parents would want to go into my closet. Even so, there still might be some reason they would. I might need to construct some sort of camouflage so that she wouldn't be noticed even if they did open it. But the more she worried about that, the less time she'd have to actually hide, meaning it would be more likely they'd hear a noise. And then I suddenly had to go to the bathroom. The bathroom? The need to use the toilet. It's so obvious and yet such a fatal flaw. In your defense, usually in media like this, we don't often think about the bathroom, but I don't know. This is definitely an important thing. The only bathroom was on the first floor. Oh, yeah, that's a big, yeah. Well, I don't think the secret plan is happening, bud. It would be absolutely impossible for her to use it without my family realizing. I might need to set up a portable toilet, like a chamber pot again, but then they would notice the smell in your room. Satoko would hate it, so she could go in my room. They would notice the smell. But yep, there you go. The stench would be pretty terrible. Anyone sensitive will probably notice the smell without even coming into the room. The bath was okay, though. She could just take a bath when my parents were out. But I couldn't do anything about a toilet. When her stomach started to hurt, if my parents were lazing around downstairs, she'd be in trouble. It was then that I noticed I'd been clawing at my head with both hands. I sat down in the dark closet with my knees against my chest. I buried my face in them and tore at my hair. The more I thought, the more contradictions popped up. The more I thought, the more things failed. And the more I worried, the more I was reminded of how little power I actually had. My back started to hurt from staying in a cramped place for so long. But if I was to shelter Satoko, I would need to force her to feel this pain. To live in such a dark, narrow, suffocating place forever. But it would still be better than being abused by her uncle. Or so I wanted to think. It got hard to breathe, so I gave in and crawled out of the closet. I looked at the clock, and to my surprise, it was 3:30 in the morning. How the fuck? It had felt like so little time, but it was so unbelievably long. When I realized that, I was slammed with a terrible urge to sleep as if the time had only just caught up with me. I didn't have the strength to fight it, and I fell flat onto my futon. Shit. I can't just go to sleep like this. Right? You gotta go brush your teeth. If I waste any time, that'll mean I'm taking the same wait-and-see attitude that Mion and Coach and everyone else did. I needed to keep worrying about how to rescue Satoko for a minute, or even a second longer than everyone else. It's not a competition, bud. Isn't there a better way? Isn't there a better way? That one phrase I spoke to myself swirled around and around in a spiral, and steadily took over my entire mind, like I was a character in Junji Ito's Uzumaki. For the last moment of consciousness, I thought, there were a lot of blind spots in what I'd considered tonight. But I absolutely wasn't wrong for having those ideas. Tomorrow, I would suggest this bold plan to the others. Not much to take over, granted. Fair enough. Mion might be able to help somehow, and Rena was really sharp, so she might have a good suggestion. And above all, we needed to rescue Satoko once again, with everyone helping out. I felt pathetic for letting myself fall asleep. I'm sorry, Satoko. Don't apologize for being human and having limitations. All right, and with that in between chapter, real quick, I'm gonna just do a quick 30-second ad break and get up and stretch my legs for just a second. So yeah, just un momento, un momento. I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, the cat got nothing to show me. I thought she was trying to tell me something important, but she did not. Alright, let's see. The ceiling blurred into view. It was hot. There was a thin layer of moist sweat on me. Ew. I hate waking up feeling like that. Unless you're... Well, the ceiling came into view, which means you're not sleeping. Anyway. Or maybe... You weren't already awake. Anyway. The voices of the cicadas permeating my room were somehow grating to my head. What? Today's not Sunday, is it? I remembered today was a weekday and quickly brought myself to consciousness. And then, finally, I leapt out of bed. The clock read a little before 10. I was totally late. When I wandered downstairs, my mom would get mad at me. There was nothing I could do, though. After reviewing the schedule for the school day for a moment, I suitably rearranged the stuff in my bag. I hurried and got dressed, then went down the stairs. There was no sign of my parents anywhere. Maybe they went out somewhere together? So that's how it was. My mother had probably woken me up once this morning, but then I fell back asleep without remembering it. Been there, done that. Embarrassing. And my parents, thinking I'd gone to school, left. Something like that probably happened. And yet, knowing this visual novel, I am concerned that that is not the case here. I went to the front door, and as I expected, it was locked. Looked like I was right. It was further evidence of my speculation being correct. When I realized my parents weren't here, I suddenly felt less like I had to rush to get to school. Willow, that was quite a head bunt on my leg. Jeez, girl. Calm down. There was one portion of breakfast left in the dining room. Probably mine. The milk they'd poured in it had gone warm since a while ago. When I realized how hard it would be to sneak food for Satoko, yesterday, I had cried. Well, thinking back on it, food wasn't the only issue in that regard. I wasn't in a position where I could care for Satoko by myself anyway. It's such a heavy thing just to save a single person. I'd seen this on TV and in comics all the time. Those feel-good words about how you'll save your friends for sure and such. Was that why I ran my mouth like that? Swearing to save her because I wanted to feel good about it? No, that absolutely wasn't true. Because the fact was, I couldn't save her. Because I didn't want to think like an adult. Like I couldn't do anything but watch. Had Satoko gone to school today? I immediately realized that was a meaningless question. Whether or not she did, there wouldn't be a change in the environment she'd been placed in. If I couldn't save her, and no one else could either, then we could only pray for a miracle. Are we so powerless? With a vague goal of getting to school in mind, I sluggishly put on my shoes and stumbled out the front door. I had only overslept by 2 or 3 hours, but the sunlight and air felt completely different from how they usually were in the morning. Well, of course they did. Once 10 o'clock came around, you could barely call it morning anymore. I didn't feel like walking the same old route to school. I needed to ultimately end up there, but it was like I didn't want to choose the shortest route, the most provocative one, proactive one, provocative. I didn't want to choose the shortest route, the most proactive one to get to school. Put in a more positive light, maybe I wanted some time to walk by myself and think. I had to go to school. Partly to make sure Satoko was safe. But I haven't come up with any plans yet. Nothing since last night. So the path I took from my house was in the complete opposite direction. If I went this way, I'd pass Rena's house and the dam site. It would be quite a detour. I calculated how long of a detour it would end up being, then, satisfied with the answer, I started to walk. Rena had brought me to the dam site a few times. One section of it had turned into an unlawful or oversized garbage dump, and Rena really liked going fishing for junk in there. Without that, she'd come off as a completely normal girl, too. I could think of a few other qualities she could do without, but whatever. Yeah. Sounds like you're boring if you don't like a girl having a quirky hobby. Anyway, the view quickly opened up wide, and I was hit by a strong wind. There was no shelter here at this big dam site. Maybe it was a good thing I came here, I thought. At the very least, it was more healthy to think about stuff in a place like this instead of my cramped bedroom. I took a deep breath and filled my lungs with the rich, cold air unique to Hinamizawa. Ring, ring. I turned around reflexively. It was a bicycle bell. Considering where I was standing, I don't think they were trying to get me out of the way. They'd rang the bell because they wanted something from me. Oh no! Our canon event character is here! Oh no! Oh no! Hey, bro! Hey, red shirt, how's it going? Hey, excuse me. You're from Hinamizawa, right? Yes, why? I've seen this person around a few times. Right, I remembered. His name, I think, was... Excuse me. Awkward time for the mini... belch. Okay, we good? There we go. Okay. His name, I think, was Tomitake, a freelance photographer who lived in Tokyo. He would zealously visit Hinamizawa every season to take pictures. Or so Mion and the others told me, I think. Could you tell me how to get to the Furude Shrine from here? I think I left my map at the inn. I don't know where to go. The shrine? From here? I knew where everything was in my head, but explaining how to get there was difficult. Oh, look, the brother. Nope, that's not the brother. I'm pretty sure, anyway. Because I think, yeah, he's been in front of Satoko in, other chapters. I feel like she would have said something if it was. Like, for a second, my brain was like, interesting theory. Oh, no, wait. No, past experiences say otherwise. Damn. If only, though. It's a good sudden thought, though. Let's see. I knew where everything was in my head, but explaining how to get there was difficult. I was a little irritated at having been bothered for this. Really, bro? That's what bothers you? Hey, I'm lost. Do you have directions? God, what a bother. One nice thing about the weather, only had to leave my phone by the window for like 10 minutes to cool it down. It was overheating too much. Oh my gosh. Absolute mood though. Absolute mood. Still, nice speedy cooldown time. Let's go. I was a little irritated at having been bothered for this, but when I realized it meant my detour actually meant something, that feeling faded quickly. I'll tell you, but it's a little difficult to explain. I could bring you there if you don't mind. Really? I would be in your debt. Thanks a lot. But, are you sure? Did you have something to do? Tomitake-san finally appeared to have realized how strange it was for a student like me to be here at this time of day. I smoothly told him not to worry about it, then turned my back and started walking towards the Furude Shrine. Tomitake-san hurried to turn his bike around and came after me. Sorry. Don't worry, all guys have times when they need to split up from the pack and be lone wolves for a while. What a free-minded freelancer. It was easier for me, too, that he was under that impression. I'm Tomitake, a freelance photographer. I specialize in wild birds and landscapes. I'm still pretty unknown, though. It seemed absurd for him to introduce himself when I was just showing him to the shrine, but he gave me his name, so I needed to give mine back. I'm Maibara. Pleased to meet you, I guess. Maibara-kun. Pleased to meet you. He seems like a pretty silly man, but that felt kinda good, considering I'd been suffocating with worry over Satoko all night. Along the way, Tomitake-san spoke at length to me about how precious the nature in Hinamizawa was, and how it was a treasure trove of rare wild birds, despite my not having asked. I wasn't interested in what he had to say, but he seemed to be enjoying himself, so I left him to it. Hopefully he doesn't quiz you to make sure that you're paying attention. These steps will take you up to the shrine grounds. Thank you. You really helped me out. I think I'm a little late. As Tomitake-san mumbled to himself, he left his bicycle nearby and started to climb the stairs quickly. I didn't have a watch, but as far as my internal clock could guess, it was still a little late in the morning. School wasn't very far from here. Maybe I could kill a little more time until then? The case is nice, but it really doesn't dissipate heat fast enough. Yeah, I get that. With that in mind, I went up the steps in pursuit of Tomitake-san. Time to be nosy. When I reached the top of the long staircase, I arrived at the wide open shrine grounds that were too grand looking for this tiny village. Tomitake-san... Oh, there he is. It looked like he was supposed to be meeting someone here. Then he got lost and ended up being late. He was bowing to a lady who must have been the person he was meeting. The other canon event, I think. I don't know if she's gonna die every time too. I think she goes miss. Yeah, I guess she falls under canon event as well. But anyway, that lady, I knew her. Oh, is that you, my Barkun? Hello there. Are you off from school today? What? Oh, my Barakun, you followed me? I wasn't really planning to, I promise I'm not stalking. I just wanted to kill some time. Oh my. Arriving at work late like an executive. How refined. You certainly are famous, taking the time to look like a big shot. Was I a celebrity? Well, she did say my name out of nowhere anyway. I was oddly concerned about what she meant by famous. Oh, you still can't remember my name? This is Mio Takano-san. She works at the village clinic. My Barakun, you seem healthy, so you probably haven't been to the hospital much, have you? Now that we're finally acquaintances, the next time you're sick or anything, I suppose I'll give you a little bit of special treatment. I don't trust her. I mean, based on last chapter, I obviously won't trust her, but, like, even now, I don't know if I want your special treatment. This lady named Takano-san. I kind of didn't remember her. Maybe we passed each other on the street a few times, but I was pretty sure this was the first time we talked. Didn't you say... Hold on. Let me make sure I read that correctly. That lady, I knew her. Yeah, it says I knew her. What do you... how do you feel like you vaguely know her? Well, this is Hinamizawa. Even if I don't know a person's name, it's not unusual for them to know mine. I don't know, considering this is very much a mystery horror visual novel, I don't know. Maybe she's the avatar of Oyashiro-sama? Of the deity. Anyway, I glanced at Takano-san and saw she had a bag and a camera. Why would she need a camera when the photographer's right there with one? Are you photography partners? Was that why you were meeting each other? Oh, we're nothing like partners. I am but an amateur, and Jiro-san is gently initiating me into it. Right. That's not it at all. Takano-san is a quick learner. She could take pictures just fine without my guidance. I mean it. You seem like a very awkward laugh. That, like, if you have, like, a little hyphen between laughs, hold on. Yeah, see, like, hee, and I feel like there were other ha-has that didn't have, like, you know, the hyphen between it. Oh, no, he does just have a hyphen in his laugh. Never mind. I was like, maybe that's a sign that he's feeling awkward. I don't know. But I guess not. I guess that's just how he laughs. I couldn't tell which of them was ahead in the conversation. Well, they were certainly one couple you wouldn't get tired of watching. Bro. The festival is finally coming up the day after tomorrow. I hope I can take some good pictures this year. I plan on taking some shots of the setup tomorrow. I want to capture the festival energy shown by the preparations for it, too. Oh, I just remembered. There was some village festival called Watanagashi or something the day after tomorrow, on Sunday. They hold a service with a pile of futons in order to give thanks to Hinamizawa's guardian deity, Oyashiro-sama, I think. Oh, you're correct. You have quite extensive knowledge despite just having moved here. Yes, it is a festival to give thanks to Oyashiro-sama. Takano-san smiled somehow meaningfully, but didn't tell me what part of a festival to thank Oyashiro-sama needed to be laughed at. Stares in knowing. Cryptic as ever, Takano-san. But I do wonder what will happen this year. You know what they say. If it happens twice, it'll happen a third time. Okay. I think I know what's gonna happen. I think this scene is gonna be what plants the seed for the idea that I'm convinced Keiichi might do. This is gonna plant the seed For him to think he can get away with a certain act to help Satoko out of her abusive situation. That's it. I'm just laying it out there. This is it. This is gonna be it. This is gonna be it. You know what they say. If it happens twice, it'll happen a third time. And it's already happened 4 times. I think there's less evidence that it won't happen a 5th time. Don't you think? I knew what they meant by their whispered exchange. On the day of Watanagashi, a freak death always occurs, which people call Oyashiro-sama's curse, and a disappearance occurs that people call being demoned away. Yeah, if I recall correctly, he already knows about it right now. In this particular chapter. But anyway, these strange events had happened 4 years running, and Watanagashi, rapidly approaching the day after tomorrow, marks the 5th. Oyashiro-sama puts a curse on enemies of the village, eh? If it does happen this year, I wonder who will find themselves at gunpoint. Oh, and I always come here to pray and donate money whenever I visit. It won't be me, for sure. Oh, honey. Oh, honey. Oh, who knows? Maybe this time you won't be a canon event somehow, but I don't know. I don't know. We shall have to see. Oh, is that so? They say that Oyashiro-sama has been especially harsh on outsiders recently, you know. My Barku may have only just moved in, but he's a proper member of Hinamizawa. But you, Jiro-san, are a stranger who only comes once a year. I wonder, will he let you go this year? That's harsh. Tomitake-san was the only one with a pained grin, but we were all smiling, me included. Why would you smile at that? That I would be very uncomfortable. Oyashiro-sama, the one who used a curse to kill people involved with the dam construction project, one after the next. He killed the dam construction manager, killed Satoko's parents for supporting it, and the next year he even killed her aunt. Oh, is he smiling because he understands what's been planted in his head? If the demoning away was part of that curse, then you could add Satoshi to the list of victims. As I thought about it, I realized that in the serial freak death incidents, the overwhelming majority had the last name Hojo. Half of the deaths and disappearances had come from the Hojo family. The Hojo family lived here in Hinamizawa. Did that mean Oyashiro-sama punished and cursed them particularly harshly because despite that, they had been in favor of the dam? Have you heard the news that Satoko's uncle has returned? Takano-san, who had been enjoying a few words with Tomitake-san, was caught unaware by my sudden inquiry. Oh, I'm sorry. What was that? Satoko's parents were killed by the curse, and her aunts, too. So I was wondering if maybe if you went in order, her uncle would be next? Her aunt had a miserable death from the curse last year, and her uncle let his sphere take over and he fled into town, right? Oyashiro-sama doesn't allow people to try and abandon the village, does he? Oh, if it's like 6 below out, sure, that's going to be wonderful when I go get food from the garage. Oh no. Bundle up. Stay warm. I hadn't intended to be quite this persistent. But those words, they just flowed out of my mouth without me thinking about it. Right. Oyashiro-sama's curse. I didn't believe in something so unrealistic, of course, but the fact was that every year, unfortunate accidents and incidents happen to enemies of the village. Like Takano-san said just now, it had happened 4 times. no one could say there wouldn't be a fifth. That's an interesting suggestion. It is true that if you look at those sacrificed in previous years, those named Hojo come up quite frequently. Given how long it's gone on for, her uncle being the one to die or disappear this year isn't out of the question. Not again, Takano-san. Don't laugh about it. It could really happen. I'm sorry, but Oyashiro-sama's curse is my life's work. Takano-san gave off a mysterious, somehow intellectual impression, and her life's work was mysterious in its own right. She probably really liked inexplicable supernatural phenomena or something. Takano-san, you seem like you know a lot about Oyashiro-sama. Give me your honest thoughts. Given that he's a Hojo and that he's returned, what are the chances that the uncle will fall to the curse? What? You seem like you really want this uncle of hers dead. That's not a... I wonder. It all depends on the whims of God. My Barakun, do you know the true identity of Santa Claus? What are we doing? Huh? I got a strange question all of a sudden, and I couldn't immediately answer. Oh, hello, CG. What? You don't know? It's your daddy. The daddies, and why would you say it like this? The daddies in everyone's family. What? That's what you meant? Well, of course. Everything ultimately comes down to humans in the end. After all, humans are the only ones living in the world. I'm just imagining on the inside, he's like, damn it! What do you mean Santa's actually my dad? All strange things should be explainable in terms of human actions. I felt like I put that somewhat strangely, but Takano-san was not as dissatisfied with that reply as I might have guessed. Oh? It's impressive that you've caught on to that at such a young age. You're right. Strange things that happen in the world of man are all caused by man for his own benefit. My Barakun, I'll ask you again then. This time, not Santa Claus, but Oyashiro-sama. Do you know anything about who Oyashiro-sama is? Takano-san took a step towards me and gazed into my eyes as she asked. Santa Claus was really the parents of every family's children. If lionizing that legend was a corporate tactic to try and profit during Christmas sales, then what was Oyashiro-sama really? I would think the analogy she's looking for right now is a cover-up. Oh? Didn't you already say? There are only humans in this world. Everything can be explained by human actions, right? That or she's trying to twist his words on him. My Barakun, keep this to yourself, okay? This string of freak death incidents attributed to Oyashiro-sama's curse, Takano-san's view was that they may be premeditated homicides performed by the people of Hinamizawa and based on some kind of ceremony. No, don't misunderstand me. My life's work is to research teachings, thoughts, and cultures from the viewpoint of folklorism. I don't really care at all about who the culprit really is. Just keep that in mind, please. I could only tell that she was saying some crazy stuff. To use a food analogy, like, you force feed a duck to be fattened, she forced her words down my throat. That's what it felt like. To understand that in the first place, you have to go all the way back to the ancient times, when Hinamizawa was called Onigafuchi, or the Demon's Abyss. The Transcendents who lived there believed themselves to carry the blood of demons, and so were only half human. Takano-san, having entered her home field, leaned forward and began to speak of ridiculous matters. Tomitake-san realized she was overawing me and interrupted for me. Takano-san, you can't just chatter on about that stuff to my Barakun. Look, he's really confused. He's clearly missing a few brain cells. You gotta reel it in a bit, okay? Just reel it back a little bit. Feed slow. Oh my, are you? If you want to hear more, ask me anytime. I have heaps of the grotesque stories that boys your age seem to love hearing. Thank you. If I feel like it, I will. For now, I softly and safely gave my refusal. Takano-san seemed a little unhappy that Tomitake-san had just rained on her parade, but she stopped talking about it then. Even so, it was still a very interesting story. That Oyashiro-sama's curse, which we thought of as strange freak deaths, were really homicides, perpetrated by people of the village. Well, I mean, if you thought about it logically, it would have to be. People wouldn't be dying because of a curse. Someone's obviously killing people and making it look like one. Indeed. As for who that is, it might be safer not to try and find out. You seem like you know, Takano-san. You may not have proof, but you seem like you believe it. Oh my. Why do you think that? I just kind of felt it, vaguely. It didn't seem like her extreme passion for this research would calm down just because these things were taboo or because it was safer and easier. This person loved walking through the profound forbidden abyss of risks and taboos. Let's leave it at that, Keiichi-kun. I just helped you escape, and now you're trying to talk about Oyashiro-sama again. I wanted to take a nice walk while it was still cool. Tomitake-san seemed a little disappointed to not be able to go on the date he'd planned since I had brought up a weird topic. It's like, great, I wanted to go on a date with her, now you got her going on about her special interest. But right now, there was something I wanted to ask, just for a little bit. And that was about whether Satoko's uncle will be chosen for the curse this year. If he was, then another miracle would happen, just like last year. A terrible incident would happen again, but it would release Satoko from her unfortunate circumstances once more. Well, I do have a few suspicions as to the kind of people who would probably become involved, of course. It's a natural, inevitable conclusion for anyone who's researched the history of Onigafuchi village. Who do you mean? What would I do if I knew? I asked that question to the other me deep inside, but got no reply. Just as clueless as I am. I guess I'm the one with the brain cell at the moment. How enthusiastic. What would you do if you knew? Nothing, really. If you find out, you might get into danger yourself, you know. Maybe the 5th year's curse would be you? Takano-san, toying with taboo, gave a devilish, satisfied smile, as though nothing in the world would be more amusing. She was probably trying to tease me, but I didn't feel like going along with her little game one bit. You like to talk pretty big. But you don't really know yourself, do you, Takano-san? I had felt a tinge of irritation at Takano-san's roundabout way of speaking. But those emotions escaped my mouth, like water flowing through a strainer. Even I was surprised at how directly I had spoken out about what I felt. Of course, I wasn't the only one taken aback. Oh my. You're something. You may be just a boy, but you can still provoke people. Uh-oh. Provoke people. Did you just provoke her in did you just provoke her? Did you make her angry? How unexpectedly rugged. I don't dislike people like that, you know. Takano-san's tongue poked out of her mouth, and I was convinced that it was long, thin, and split in the middle like a snake's. Alright. I'll tell you then. But you have to promise me 3 things first. 1, not to regret it no matter what I tell you. 2, not to tell it to anyone. 3, not to tell anyone I told you. I gulped firmly and nodded. Tomitake-san made an exaggerated expression of distress, gave a dry, vague smile, and lit a cigarette. Please, tell me, who is putting this curse on people? Who is it? Who's deciding who gets cursed? And after I said that, I finally realized why I wanted to... Bro, I connected that dot like 10 minutes ago! Or however long it was. As soon as you were like, wait, someone might know. Like, as soon, like, Dude. I think your other self took the brain cell back. Anyway, I finally realized why I wanted to know. Really? You're gonna cut it there? You gonna cut it there? Man, it's weird splitting these into 3 parts. Whoa. Whoa. Okay. They fast forwarded, I guess. Quick 30-second break for a chance for everybody to stretch, though. Jesus. Okay. Like, guy, like, it's so obvious, right? It's obvious where we're going. He wants to know so that if there really is someone orchestrating these deaths, he can go convince them to kill this guy. So, buddy, what the fuck do you mean? I just realized... Listen, I know you ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. I know you ain't the sharpest tool in the shed, bro, but come on. But come on. Didn't freeze to death too much, just grabbed a frozen meal because I didn't want to fumble around at the freezer. Fair enough. Let me stretch my arms. I actually forgot to do that. Okay, that pop felt good. There we go. Alright. Many of my classmates were playing freely in the schoolyard. I feel like I could make a Yu-Gi-Oh! GX opening reference here, but I shall not. Mostly because I can't remember the lyrics off the top of my head in this very moment. A few of them had just run out of the school building... Well, a few of them had just run out of the school building after putting on their shoes and tapping their toes to the ground. It looked like they had just finished eating lunch. From a time-manipulating standpoint, I guess I succeeded. Oh, my bra-san! Are you okay? A few girls noticed me and came running over. It was only natural they were worried. You'd think if someone wasn't there in the morning, they'd be out the rest of the day. Well, I'm just late for school. Just a little bit. Just a little. I overslept. Don't worry about it. Anyway, what about Satoko? Did she come today? The girls exchanged glances. I saw a thin shadow fall over their faces and knew the answer without needing to hear them reply. Nearly put my food in for an hour instead of 16 minutes. Oopsies! Satoko was absent today too. When all was said and done, after being out 3 days, she'd only come back for 1. And now she was out again. Who knew if she would come tomorrow? Yeah. But the teacher said she got a phone call from Satoko-chan. She said she had a cold. Lies. Chie-sensei said everyone should make sure to rinse their mouths out really well. Maybe put some hot curry in their mouth and let the heat burn away the germs. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Chie-sensei. That's a little too thick-headed, don't you think? You're a teacher, aren't you? Maybe she's also in the thought process of, well, what can I do? Why can't you be more sensitive and catch on to the fact that your pupil is sending out an SOS? But even if she did, there was nothing we could hope for. The most she could do was a home visitation. She didn't have any right to take Satoko from her uncle into safety. No matter the result, it would end up just like the public agencies, with a wait-and-see attitude. It would just piss Satoko's uncle off, and her suffering would only grow deeper. Then, wasn't saying she had a cold the best option? She's right. Be careful not to catch a cold. Got it? You can go now. There's still plenty of time left in lunch break. The girls excitedly scattered into the schoolyard. Oh, Keiichi-kun! Rena was yelling out the classroom window, waving her hand. A moment later, Mion and Rika-chan poked their heads out too. We were very worried that even you would be absent today. Thank goodness! You didn't seem sick. Or, you don't seem sick. You look pretty okay. I felt a little uncomfortable with her saying that I didn't look sick, but I didn't care that much. What happened? Overslept? Well, late is late. I think if I said I was late because of a train accident, she'd let it slide. You overslept? Mion was being a bit persistent. Was she going to put on her club president cap and scold me for being late? Well, maybe she didn't have it in for me, so I briefly stated that she was right. There's still more bento. Everyone eat up. Without Keiichi-kun here, we couldn't have any fun. Satoko is still absent, huh? Even Rena, feigning cheerfulness, couldn't stand to hear that, and her face darkened. She called this morning. Apparently, she said her cold came back and she was staying home again. She said it might go on for a while, too. She must be sad, so we're all talking about going to visit. What are you saying, Rika-chan? Not pleased with Rika-chan wearing a wide smile as though it was a happy occasion, I threw cold water on her? What? Like, okay, sorry. Literally, or is that an expression I'm not familiar with? Anyway, we know best of all she doesn't have a cold, don't we? Don't ever tell a fib like that again, even as a joke. I'll get mad next time. Rika-chan furrowed her brow, looked down, and mumbled an apology. It's not just you, Keiichi-kun. It's hard for everyone. We've been over this. Do I need to call you a little bitch again? I know I'm not the only one worrying. But none of us can do anything either, can we? That's true, but... But... I got the feeling I would cause another fight if this exchange went on. So I apologized first. Good. De-escalate. That's important to notice when a fight is about to break out, so it's like, okay, we need to step back, de-escalate. At the end of the day, you all are worried about Satoko. Fighting ain't gonna do shit. So just take a step back, take a breather. Let's figure out what to do. Sorry. I'm sorry, so forget about what I just said. It's hard for everyone, right? It must be. It was at least clear, however, that I was the only one who had worried so much about rescuing her. At the very least, everyone else probably got the normal amount of sleep last night. Probably had good dreams, too. I definitely hadn't stayed up all night thinking so desperately. I know it might not want to... I know it might not want... Wow, why am I messing this up? I know it might not be what you want to hear right after you get to school. But you were late today, Kei-chan. Did it have anything to do with Satoko being absent? Huh? Mion, what are you talking about? Sometimes you act kind of foolhardy, Kei-chan. When both you and her were absent this morning, we seriously thought you might have kidnapped her and hidden her somewhere. Easy for you to say. If I could have, I'd have done that last night. None of them had really thought about how difficult that clear-as-day solution was. I was up, thinking all night, thinking until the night was brightening. And then, I concluded that I couldn't do anything of the sort. Don't be dumb. I couldn't hide someone. You're right. I'm sorry. I apologize if I upset you. Don't worry about it. Anyway, let's eat some food. I'm starving. I took my bento box out of my bag. Everyone moved to make a spot for me to sit. My Barakun! Did you just get here? And just as I was about to stick my chopsticks in, Chie-sensei came along. Yeah? Sorry for being late. I overslept. What the heck? Even the teacher was giving me that strange look. When you're finished eating, could you and the president come to the teacher's lounge? There's something I want to talk about. Probably about Satoko, I thought. Sensei left it at that and went back out into the hallway. Had to hurry back to that curry. Eating lunch can wait. Let's go, Mion. You're right. Mion and I exchanged looks, nodded to each other, and got up. It's probably about Satoko-chan. No doubt about it. They were saying she had a cold, but everyone in class knew the truth. I didn't think that would have reached the teacher's ears by now. I kept playing dumb, so I think she gave up asking me. Revealing the truth to the teacher would only worsen the situation. Was that why she hadn't said anything? Or was it because she was Satoko's friend and knew that she was trying to endure the trial of her uncle's abuse in order to get her brother to come home? What should we do? Maybe we should use this chance to get a collective opinion. What do you want to do, Rika-chan? Satoko's closest and best friend was Rika-chan. However much I pretended to be her Nini, it didn't come close to the amount of time they'd spent together. So I felt like her opinion should be held in the highest regard. I know why Satoko is enduring her uncle's torture. Everyone looked startled and turned to me. Back then, whenever Satoko was abused, she probably cried and hid behind her brother. But Satoko thinks that, in the end, that's why her brother ran away. Who did you hear that from? The coach, I bet. I nodded quietly. Satoko believes her brother will come back if she can withstand the abuse. Maybe that's why she's trying to push through. But that assumption has nothing to do with Satoshi coming back. It hurts to say that about Satoko, but it's the truth. Everyone hung their heads. Everyone was thinking the same thing. Satoko probably won't be happy no matter who helps her. She wants to withstand everything with her own strength. But is it really right to respect that? That really is a heavy question, and when framed like that, I don't know what I would do. I know what I want to do. But is it what I would do? Maybe it's like the for your own good thing. And find a different way to tell her that she's strong enough. That's not why Satoshi left, you know? Just find some other way to build it. Yeah, okay, I take it back. I would tell her I want to respect her judgment, but I can't let her put her health and safety at risk for it. That is what I personally would do in this situation. But I would still feel guilty. And yeah. Anyway. Is it really right to respect that? I don't think it is. Even if Satoko hates us for a while, I think there will come a time when we need to save her against her will. There are times where we really do have to do that. And I think that time might be now. I told them all about what I saw and how I felt when I went to Satoko's house yesterday. Keiichi-kun, so you think we should tell someone? Of course. Only after we're sure that reporting it to a public agency will guarantee her safety. Without being sure of that, it could just get more dangerous for her instead. This really do be a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. It's a difficult problem. You think we can get a definite promise out of the teacher? I had no confidence. But we had to try. Meanwhile, Rika-chan had her hand raised for a while, as if asking for an opportunity to speak. I will leave it to Keiichi. What? Is that okay, Rika-chan? Keiichi is thinking about Satoko more than anybody else here. If Keiichi thinks that we need to tell someone, then I have no complaints. Thanks. Mion. Rana. Are you okay with that? Mion seemed to hesitate, not knowing if she should agree. But when she saw Rena's firm nod, she made up her mind and did the same. Okay. Let's go, Mion. Right. Let's just not be about Satoko at all. I hope it is, though. Only Chie-sensei was in the teacher's lounge. We didn't see the principal anywhere. The schedule on the blackboard under the principal's name said, training going straight home. Our principal's sense of justice was too strong. Satoka's problems wouldn't be solved with something so vague. Maybe it was a stroke of good luck that he wasn't here. When the teacher saw Mion and I come in, she closed up her curry bento, saving the rest for later. Sit over there, please. She told us to take a seat in the chairs directly in front of the principal's seat. I hadn't sat in this chair since doing the paperwork for transferring in. The two of us sat there uncomfortably, and before the teacher walked over carrying a notebook, hold on. The two of us sat there uncomfortably before the teacher walked over carrying a notebook and a ballpoint pen and sat in front of us. My Barakun, you were absent this morning. Did something happen? I'm sorry. I overslept. Really? I have no reason to lie. She narrowed her eyes at me in suspicion. Now I was sure of it. She wanted to talk about Satoko. In any case, I think you two already know, but your friend Hojo-san has been away frequently lately. Neither Mion nor I had anything to say in response. But the teacher proceeded, not minding. Would you happen to know anything? There are some people in class spreading bad rumors. Mion looked down and remained silent, as though she were being lectured. She sent me a quick glance. Everyone had made up their minds. They'd be leaving things to me. Mion-kun? Or you, my Barakun? I won't get mad or anything, okay? If you know something, I just want you to tell me. Sensei, can we ask you a question first? She must not have anticipated that response. Oh my god, her flustered face is cute. She looked surprised. I don't know what rumors are going around about Satoko in class. But if those rumors happened to be true, what would you do, Sensei? Well, what would I do? If it's true, then I can't leave it alone. Can't leave what alone? Exactly. What would you do? Sensei's eyebrows shot up. Maybe I said it like I was trying to pick a fight. My Barakun, I'm being serious here. So am I. I'm also being completely serious right now. Please answer me. If it were true, what wouldn't you leave alone? Sensei took a few breaths, then began to speak slowly. First, I'd have to visit Hojo-san's house to confirm the situation. Her uncle might get mad and drive you away, though. Well, okay. Let's say you did meet with Satoko and her uncle. Then what? Then, I'd ask whether it was true. Once I got the facts, I'd go from there. Please, stop talking so vaguely. Right, I was literally just thinking, if you keep it vague, then we're not gonna be on, then watch it be some sort of huge misunderstanding, and we're none of us are on the same page. What exactly would you do? Even despite my tone being so provocative, Chie-sensei bit back her emotions and listened calmly. I thought then that she was a good teacher. Chie-sensei really did have her students' best interests at heart. But she didn't have the power or the authority to save Satoko. If she let her sense of justice run away with her, the situation could get more complex. Sensei folded her arms, and for a few moments, she closed her eyes as though mentally concentrating. And when they opened again, there was a strictness in her eyes I'd never seen before. There's a law called the Child Welfare Law. It clearly states that abuse against children will not be allowed no matter who it is. So it would seem. Then what? I'd contact the Okinomiya Child Consultation Center. You said just now that I would be turned away, didn't you? Child welfare officers can bring the police with them if the situation demands. They will not submit to intimidation. How many days would it take after you contact the social worker and submit the paperwork for her to be saved? It would be the same day. Their job is to guarantee the immediate safety of children. I know that. That's if they decide there's an urgent need. If they didn't, then they'd do the same as you. They'd go from there. They'd just wait and see, right? They'd just watch. It would make Satoko's uncle's mood sour, and Satoko would be stuck with him there. Kei-chan, that's going a little too far. I'm not lying, am I? Last year, or the year before, whatever, that's exactly what happened when the child welfare people came, isn't it? And what happened then? You and Sensei would know about it a lot better than I would. I had said too much. I didn't need Mion to tell me that. I was talking crazy and itching for a fight. I was supposed to be telling her about the situation only after I was sure we could save Satoko, but I basically told her everything right from the start. Chie-sensei looked at the clock and picked up the phone at the principal's seat. Hello? Put me through to extension 3455, please. Is this okay, Kei-chan? Is this really okay? It was too late. The die had been cast. Just gotta pray we have Aventurine's luck. Now we could only pray that we had the luck of a very flamboyant blonde man. Oh, thank you for answering my call. I'm Chie, a licensed teacher at the Hinamizawa branch school. Would Director Watanabe happen to be in the guidance office? Yes, that's right. Something urgent came up, so I'd like to contact the principal as soon as I can. Yes. Thank you. Please tell him immediately. Yes, thank you. The teacher put down the phone and tilted her head back and took a breath like I always did. I'll ask the two of you again. Are the rumors going around class really true? Yes. Yesterday, I went to Satoko's house, and I saw for myself just how bad it really is. You can leave the rest to me. I'll definitely do something for Satoko-chan. Something? Please stop saying such ambiguous things. Not something. We have to save her. If they end up deciding to wait and see again, how do you plan on taking responsibility? While I was yelling, the phone rang. Chie-sensei snatched the receiver up first. Hello? Oh, I apologize for interrupting your training. Yes. Actually, it's about the issue with Satoko Hojo-san. Yes. Sensei waved us away, telling us we could leave now. Mion went to leave, but I held my ground. I had a responsibility to make sure she stopped saying such vague, ambiguous things. If it didn't look like she was going to say anything substantial, then I'd tell them the truth, even if I had to steal the phone from her. Yes. No, I haven't contacted them yet. Yes. I haven't confirmed it, but it seems pretty bad from what the children are saying. It's not just pretty bad. Do something about it right now. If you're going to report it, then I don't care who you tell, but I swear, if they end up just waiting and watching, I will never forgive you. I yelled angrily at Sensei and the principal on the other end. I wanted to somehow, some way, convey to them just how dangerous her situation was right now. I understand that. I will tell them as much. Mion-kun, please take my Bara-kun back to the classroom. Yes, ma'am. Let's go, Kei-chan. We should leave this to the teachers now. You better promise. Until the very last moment, I glared at Sensei. Chie-sensei was feeling pressured by the likes of me. Idiot, this isn't the time to feel pressured. Now's the time when you give me a firm nod to reassure me. Even so, we've already left things in her hands. At this point, we really can't do anything but pray. Mion shut the door to the teacher's lounge. Oh god, is that where it's gonna end? One more chapter. Not enough happened this chapter. I feel like yes, we had like some of the scary shit mentioned, but we need more. Okay. Real quick, I do need to take a quick hydration break. My throat is getting a little dry, but I will use this as a chance to pop up an ad, and also use this as a reminder for y'all to get up and stretch for a moment. Oh my god, we gonna keep going. We gonna keep going. I want to get through one more chapter. I feel like there's something juicy in the next chapter, and that better be so. Oh my god. Okay. Looking at the time, I almost wish I could say only one chapter, but my anticipation and wanting to see more happen, we are doing one more chapter. Alright. Article and statistics from the Ministry of Health and Welfare. Alright. Let's look at the tips and then move on. Article 2. Definition of child abuse. As if we need to define that right now, but okay. The term child abuse means the following acts committed by a custodian, meaning a person who exercises parental authority, a guardian of a minor, or other person who is currently engaged in the custody of a child. Hereinafter, the same shall apply. Against a child, meaning a person who is under 18 years of age. Hereinafter, the same shall apply. 1. Assault the child in a manner that will cause or is likely to cause external injury on the body of a child. 2. Engage in indecency against the child or cause the child to engage in indecency. I need someone, just quick little tangent, I need someone to throw this at all the people who are like, well, the age of consent in Japan. Here you go. This is literally in a Japanese origin. This literally originated in Japan, and it's literally telling you this falls under child abuse. Well, but from the custodian, but still. they're still referring to someone under 18 as a child. So, you know what I mean. That particular subsect of the internet that's just trying to get away with with being nasty. Hold on. Sorry. There we go. 3. Substantially reduce the amount of food for the child or abandon and neglect the child for a long time period in a manner that may interfere with normal development of the child mentally or physically, or otherwise materially fail to perform the duty of a custodian. Or 4. Speak or behave in a manner that would be significantly traumatic to the child. In other words, mental abuse is still abuse. Article 3. Prohibition of child abuse. No person, like, this isn't even custodian, this is no person. Like, this shit before, the term child abuse means the following acts committed by a custodian, meaning a person who exercises parental authority, a guardian of a minor, or otherwise a person who is currently engaged in the custody of a child, here and after the same shall apply. Yeah, it's like, no, see, this is custodian. They're not saying custodian or, like, you know, parent or guardian. They are saying, literally, no person shall abuse a child. Not even, no person shall commit child abuse. No person shall abuse a child. Suck it, age of consented Japaners. Anyway. Law number, Act number 82 of 2000. Authored by the Minister of Health and Welfare. Psst, I like that. It was like, Article 3, Prohibition. No one shall abuse a child. That's all we need to say. Literally, don't abuse a child. We don't need to elaborate. Don't fucking do it. Alright, statistics from... Yeah, that didn't give me any sort of lore or anything to eat off of other than... I could shove this in the face of anybody who wants to be a creep about... oogling at fan art of a girl who is 16. Or younger. Y'all are a bunch of freaks. Unless you are of around that age, but that's a whole nother subject. I'm talking about the adults who try to excuse it. Anyway, Article 3. Do we really need to state this? Literally. It's like, just because... I guess we have to put this in black and white, because y'all can't trust your sense of morals. Here, do not abuse a child. That's all we need. Moving on. You sure we don't need any elaborations? No. We explained what abuse is in the last thing. Just have them look up a few lines and read down, and then read part 3 again. Alright, statistics. Year 19 somewhat. Principal abusers, in cases reported to the Ministry of Health and Welfare. Yep, in cases reported. That does make a difference. Imagine how many aren't reported. But here's what has been reported. Oh, Satoko. Total 5,352. Mother by blood 2,943, or 55%. Mother not by blood 203, or 3.8%. Father by blood 1,445, or 27%. Abuse being more common in mothers, I find that a little fascinating. Still. Father not by blood 488, or 9.1%. That surprises me less. Year 19-aught blank. Instances by type of abuse in cases reported to the Ministry of Health and Welfare. They're really making me stare at Satoko while we look at these statistics. It's like making her a statistic. Fun fact, Ryukishi 07 did work in Child Protective Services for quite a while. That's awesome. That is awesome. Just another reason to love the creator of all this. Way to go, Ryukishi. Total 5,352. Yep, same as principal abusers. Instances of type. So there's the total number, and now here's the percentages, which could probably be put in a pie chart, but we cannot display that for some reason. We didn't want to make the graphic. Physical abuse, only half. Only a little over half. Interesting. 2,780, or 51.9%. Neglect, abandonment of child, 1,728. 32.3%. That's way higher than I thought it would be. Psychological abuse, 458, or 8.6%. I thought this would be way higher. Forbidden from going to school, 75, 1.4%. Sexual violence. I don't like the music kicked on for that. I don't like that the music kicked on for that. Why did the music kick on for this one? And also, that number is stupidly high. It like, there should not even be a single digit case for this. Why are there 311 cases? Or 5.8%? Oh my god. Okay, I have to look back at this just to point something out here. I have to point something out here. Notice that in every, or not every, never mind. Still, for the most part, it goes in order of most to least, and then mother is just, you know, mother tied to mother. It's like, you know, grouping it based on the fact that it's mother. Yep, so it's like mother was most, then to father. And then types of abuse were going in descending order. Starting with physical at 51%, then we go down to neglect at 32.3, psychological 8.6, forbidden from going to school 1.4. So it's like, you know, it's going in descending order. And then all of a sudden, we get disgusting violence. And that gets a musical cue after showing the number, and the number would place it above forbidden from going to school. And we know that this has such incredible writing. They pay attention to these details to the point where when I was rereading chapter 1 for stream, they were laying out so many important details that hit so different when you've already read chapter 1. This is telling me that the implication, I'm thinking of the implications, and I don't like the implications. I don't like the implications of that being the last one, and it's a higher number than the one before when everything else was in order, and I don't like that it had a musical cue as it slowly fades out. So, like, that fade out felt so slow with Satoko as well. Like, I don't like that. I don't like the implication. So I guess before we proceed, just because of that, I feel the need to say potential trigger warning or content warning. We may have sexual abuse of a minor in the following chapter or in a future chapter. The point is, it is officially on the table. I felt like it was never on the table. Just, you know, standard physical abuse, neglect, psychological abuse, like all of that. And now sexual abuse of a minor has been put on the table, and I don't like that. So I will say, like, for the VOD or anybody listening, whatever, just whatever the instance of listening, potential, I don't know if it's going to happen. If it does, I don't know how explicit it's going to be. So I just want to lay it out. Potential trigger warning or content warning that there may be sexual abuse of a minor before long. And I am scared. I am scared. Oh my gosh. Okay. If you feel that you need to step away because of that, by all means, that is fine. And in the VOD, I will be sure to edit it in. If it do, I will put in some sort of edit for y'all to be able to look away from it. Or, like, you know, not pay attention, skip ahead, and I'll leave, like, a TLDR somewhere if needed. But I want to make sure everybody is safe and takes care of themselves. If that topic is too far for you, by all means, I'm kind of, like, for me, yes, it is. Before I accidentally dig myself a grave, possibly due to awkward wording. Yes, for me, sexual abuse of a minor is always, 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 always too far. Always too far. That said, it doesn't necessarily trigger a negative reaction in me like it would for others who may have been abused in a similar manner. I think animal abuse is really my own main trigger that, you know, falls under something that needs a trigger warning for me. Otherwise, overall, so I can get through this. And also, I feel like I've kind of committed myself to go through this anyway, because, I don't know when or if it's going to happen. But if you need to step away from here, I completely respect that. I absolutely do. Do what's important for you and your health first and foremost. There's only so much I can do on my end other than warn you of the implications that left me. And I actually appreciate, if it is going to go there, that implication was made, because at least now I won't be caught entirely off guard. It almost felt like an old school version of a trigger warning, you know, before we actually had, like, you know, like back on, like, fanfic.net, like, don't read warnings, or, like, content warnings on that, or, like, the tag system on AO3, before we had anything like that. Before that was even, like, something to consider. The most I would see would be, like, a not safe for work warning or something on, like, a fanfic, but it's, like, usually I'm looking up the not safe for work stuff, but not always, just saying. Sometimes when I see it, it's because I am. Not always, though. But in this case, like, if you feel like you need to step away because that's a significant trigger for you, then please, please, please do. A stream is not worth triggering a potential episode in you, or just losing your comfort. It's not worth it. It's not. So just do what's important for you. I will continue working through this, knowing that the creator, Ryukishio7, did work in Child Protective Services for quite a while. I think that speaks volumes on how the creator stands on the subject. And so that they have a lot of respect for me on just that alone. Thank you so much, Joey, for sharing that fun fact with us. But yeah, that's just gonna be something I feel the need to say for any sort of stream. If any sort of trigger warning or content warning, never put a stream before your own mental, physical, emotional well-being. Any well-being. Take care of yourself first and foremost. It is not worth it. It is not. So one more time before we move on. Potential trigger warning, because again, I don't know if it's going to happen or if it will just be implied. Even then, just the implication may be a bit much, but still, trigger warning for potential sexual abuse of a minor. or even implied sexual abuse of a minor. Please proceed with caution as we move on. Please. Put yourself first. And I will take no offense to it. Alright. That's it. That's enough of that. Let's go ahead and move on. It is... Let's see. It is 1:41 for me. This will be the last chapter of the night. If I feel the need to continue partway into the next chapter just to balance things out a little bit, if it ends on a very scary note, then I absolutely will. Even if it messes with the flow a little bit, I don't care. I care more about everybody's mental well-being, emotional, physical, all of the well-beings. Please take care of yourself. Saving one more time just for good measure. And now we move on. One more time. Potential trigger warning for possible essay of a minor, or even implied essay of a minor. Moving on. The die of fate had been cast. Reporting to a public agency, which we'd kept being warned, could instead result in something far worse for Satoko if we didn't have the evidence first. And just like that. Had I failed? Had I let my emotions get the better of me in that moment? Maybe I should have stayed silent and left everything to Mion, since she had been relatively calm. I remembered the punishment game, where we had to badmouth Curry, and how me saying anything would have made it worse, and Toko told us to leave the talking to her. Oh my god. That scene has a whole nother vibe to it now. That whole event has a whole nother vibe to it. Oh my god. That was just supposed to be lighthearted and silly, and yet, oh my god. She took it as a test trial, in a sense. Probably one with no risks, so it was like, you know, not that big a deal. I don't even know if she realized it, but that it could be considered like that. But my god. Maybe it was the same thing here. I was impulsive, so maybe I should have just shut up and looked at the floor. But it was too late to lament it. The die I had thrown wouldn't be coming back into my hands. All we could do was pray for something good to happen.
Keiichi-kun, you did everything you could. So, leave it to the teachers now. Okay?
Everything I could? If I really gave it everything I had, if I had really struggled, I would have dragged Satoko out of her home last night and hidden her somewhere in some abandoned house. I didn't. So that means I didn't do everything I could. Honey.
Stop thinking about it, alright? You're being a little too persistent, Keiichi-kun. At this rate, you'll collapse.
Just leave me alone. I left her with those words and stared lazily up at the ceiling. I wondered if I'd really got Chie-sensei to understand. Would the public agency intervene and solve everything within the day? Would they acknowledge the abuse and guarantee her safety? After lunch break, our afternoon classes were mostly self-study. The teacher came back to the classroom occasionally, but then the phone in the lounge would ring and she'd have a long conversation with the caller.
Everyone in class got the feeling they knew what those phone calls were about. Sensei came trotting back from the classroom. I'm really sorry for all the phone calls recently. Let's call it a day. President, please lead the class. Everybody stand up. It looked to me like Sensei had been wearing a dark expression ever since after lunch break. It wasn't a very relieving expression. It wouldn't be. Even if Sensei 100% understood the situation and passionately explained it to the other person, at the end, the Child Consultation Center, as a public agency, would be the ones to decide whether to get her to safety. Sensei understood that as well as us. And that's why she looked so unreliable right now. Kei-chan, let's go home. I don't think anyone feels like having the club today. Mi-chan, it's no fun if someone's not here. Renna was right. It was no fun for us if someone was missing. If the teacher's expression had shown more promise, then maybe we could have gone home more comfortably. But I couldn't let myself feel relieved. I couldn't be naive and tell myself all I can do is pray now that the dice have been cast. Just in case they didn't get her to safety and decided to wait and see again. I'd need to take further measures. We've asked the people who could do something official already. Then, there was one more place that was worth asking for help. She might laugh it off. Or I might be right, and I could be endangering my own life. But I'd try. Oh, Mion? Is it okay if I stop by your place today? You've got a lot of manga, right? I want to borrow a bunch of them. Huh? Sure, I guess. There was an ominous meaning behind my words, so Mion realized what I really meant right away. I wanted to talk about something alone. That's what I meant. Mi-chan, Keiichi-kun, let's go home! Renna already had her shoes on and was waving to us from the schoolyard. Mion's house was gigantic in every way imaginable. The house itself was a vaguely old-fashioned traditional Japanese house, but the yard, I guess, or their plot of land, was enormous. It easily convinced me that they really were major landowners with Hinamizawa under their thumb. Mion brought me through the guest room, and a servant brought us some tea. Wow. You really are rich, huh? You've even got housekeepers? Grandma and I are the only ones who live here. I wouldn't be able to do everything myself. The servant left, telling us it was 5 o'clock, then withdrew with soft footsteps. We have people come in to take care of Grandma and clean 2 or 3 times a week. They come in rotations of 3 or 4, so there's someone here almost every day. Only until evening, though. Oh, and if we're having a party or something where we need more help, we call up different people. If you had the money to hire all these people, then just take Satoko in. I glared at her as I thought that, and Mion seemed to catch on immediately. Oh, sorry. It's fine. I know it's not a money problem. Just to be clear, My family may be rich, but it's not money that I can use freely for myself, okay? I don't want you to misunderstand that. It kind of looked like I was bullying her. Mion had been apologizing to me a lot lately. Probably because you were very harsh when you fought with her in the last chapter segment. Like, you said some very inhumane things. Anyway, was Mion the sort of person who would do that this much? Maybe when you're inhumane, yeah. Maybe it's just that I've been looking so grim lately. Or you said things you should not say to a friend. So, what's up? You had something to talk about, right? I have something pretty serious to discuss, Mion. This will be sudden, and you might be surprised. But I want you to hear me out. I'm gonna kidnap the President of the United States. Sorry, I felt the need to say something outlandish and stupid. National treasure truly is a national treasure. Anyway. Huh? What? Oh, I'll give you a way out first. Even if what I say is true, you don't need to admit it. You're allowed to play dumb. But I want you to listen until the end. I have something to say to the next leader of what's still the most important of the 3 families of Onegafuchi Village, Mion Sonozaki. Yep, I had a feeling Takano probably said something along the lines of the Sonozaki house deciding who lives and who gets to die every year. That was my guess. Something about them. At first, Mion looked like she had no idea what I was saying. But at hearing the whole sentence and putting it together, she reacted. Where did you hear that? It doesn't really matter. I definitely couldn't tell her who told me. Takano-san, you told me not to, but please forgive me. This was why I asked you about it after all. I was surprised just that you'd heard of Onegafuchi Village, Kei-chan. But you seem to know a lot of things, both true and false. About me, too. Yeah, true and false. I really might just have the wrong impression here. But I'm okay with that, so listen. And if it really is true... I don't know what you're getting at, Kei-chan, but let me say this beforehand. You've got a big misunderstanding. So, if it were possible, I wouldn't want to hear what you're about to say. Because even if you said it, I can't do anything to help you. Still, if talking about it will lighten your burden even a little, I'll listen. I'm only just going to listen. Nothing more will happen. Are you okay with that? Yeah. Mion seemed to know what kind of thing I'd be talking about. She warned me that doing so would be fruitless. That much was obvious. If what I was going to say was true, then the Sonozaki family would be the masterminds behind the string of freak deaths that had been occurring every year in Hinamizawa. I'm trying to remember if that was something that was true from the last chapter or not. I don't remember if it was just implied or not, but I feel like it was mentioned. But then in the last chapter, they got a little sloppy and messed up, and that was actually a theory they discussed in the after party. Actually, is, are they really the perpetrators? Because if so, why was it so sloppy this time around? I don't know. But anyway, that doesn't matter here. What matters is that we're probably gonna ask for a hit on the uncle. You know that stuff about Oyashiro-sama's curse, right? Mion nodded a little. No one knows what it is or why it happens. Even if each incident is solved, the string of deaths and accidents as a whole is still a mystery. But there's one thing connecting them all. And that's how the targets are always enemies of the village. Seems like it. Mion spoke as if it didn't relate to her. That was fine. She didn't have to admit it. For now, I just wanted her to stay quiet and listen to me. The day after tomorrow. It's Watanagashi, isn't it? Has the sacrifice for this year's curse been decided already? Mion didn't answer. Her expression remained the same, too. Like she said, she was just quietly listening. Sorry, the promise was that you'd just listen, so it's weird for me to ask a question, huh? Mion gave me a look she'd never given me before. A faraway look. A sympathetic one. She didn't nod, just smiled faintly and listened to me. If this year's curse isn't going to be on Satoko's uncle, then please change it to him. I mean, last year it was her aunt, right? It's in the right order, so it wouldn't be weird. You're right. It seems like there's an order. I mean, after her aunt died to the curse last year, he abandoned Satoko and fled into the town for a whole year. Why wouldn't a guy like that definitely be next on Oyashiro-sama's list? There shouldn't be any issue with choosing him for this year. I see. If he were to die from the curse this year, no one would see anything unusual about it. I heard that Oyashiro-sama's curse is, well, no matter how I looked at it, I wasn't sure whether I should continue. No matter how I tried, the words wouldn't come out. The string of freak deaths in Hinamizawa, also called Oyashiro-sama's curse. You're saying they're incidents perpetrated by the village, carried out by the 3 families at the Sonozaki's instructions? Is that it? I wasn't... I don't care one bit whether you have anything to do with it. I'm just saying, if you have any way of communicating with whoever decides the targets of the curse, then I just want you to tell them to choose Satoko's uncle. Please. Everything you've been saying has been terrible. If the freak death incidents in Hinamizawa were carried out by the will of the Sonozaki family, that would mean the main culprit would be me, wouldn't it? I would have chosen the target of the curse, given the instructions, killed many people, and gotten rid of others. You're calling me a murderer, Kei-chan, and yet you're smiling. I didn't say that. Didn't you listen to me? I don't care whether you're the one behind the murders or not, I just don't. Even if you were the culprit, it doesn't change the fact that you're my friend. Wow. We really aren't in chapter 2 anymore, folks. It doesn't matter at all. If the police were chasing you, I'd come to help. I'd make you an alibi and even help you escape. Because we're friends and comrades, aren't we? Mion? Look surprised for a while. Well, it's probably because right now he's totally okay with death as long as it's on a particular person. She was dumbfounded. Now you're declaring yourself complicit? Kei-chan, that's pretty bold of you. Come on, don't interrupt. Satoka's uncle. Choose him for... Stop right there, Kei-chan. I want to start on dinner soon, so I'd like to leave things at this. Mion... I then realized that my cheeks were wet with tears. They slid down my chin and fell, drip, drop to the tatami mat. It's like I said at the start. You've got a big misunderstanding. Oyashiro-sama's curse is just that. Even if there were people behind those incidents... Excuse me? They don't have anything to do with the Sonozaki family, or me either. Right. See, here's the thing. She could be saying that as plausible deniability to be like, if anything happens, you didn't... we never spoke. The Sonozakis didn't do shit. These are not the droids you're looking for. Anyway, I understand that. It's just... It was touching to hear such a desperate plea, Kei-chan. But that was all it was. Even if I wanted to help, I can't. You understand that too, right? Yeah. But now I know how you feel so well, it hurts. If I really were, like you said, the one controlling the 3 families and choosing the sacrifices every year, I'd probably grant your wish. Mion. But the reality is different. I'm just Mion Sonozaki. My family may be the subject of all sorts of bad rumors about controlling Hinamizawa from the shadows, but we have nothing to do with the freak death incidents. We may have been a little extreme during the Dam War, but that's all. We would never do something so insane as to kill people. That's... Don't say such sad things. Right now, at least, I don't care. Why can't you just be nice and lie to me? Kei-chan, you're free to believe what you like. If I lied to you now, you'd be convinced Satoko would be freed the night after tomorrow and you'd be able to shed much of your burden. However, reality is harsh. Satoko's uncle will survive beyond that day. He'd still be alive next week and the week after that. You need to prepare yourself for that. I don't want you coming to me the day after Watanagashi and demanding to know why he wasn't killed. Yawn. Mion stood up slowly and closed the sliding door to keep out the winds that had grown chilly. Was it Mia-san? Did she give you all those ideas? She really likes to misunderstand things about Hinamizawa. Well, we can't let her have any fun. Well, we can't let her have her fun. But I don't really want her influencing you, Kei-chan. Jeez. Remember what happened last chapter when you let her influence her? Our meeting in this house was a lot less fun. This is why outsiders are no good. Takano-san has nothing to do with it. That was a dumbass move, buddy. You could have just been like, who? But no, she said Mia-san, and then you said Takano-san, which means you know damn well who she's talking about. Anyway. Right. Don't worry. Even though I know she told you about it, Kei-chan, nothing's going to happen. It's not like Mio-san will be chosen for this year's curse. Besides, we don't even know for sure if the curse will happen this year. Maybe it was all just a pile of unfortunate coincidences. Thanks for listening. If you aren't connected to the serial deaths at all, then That must have been an uncomfortable conversation. I'll apologize for it. In 2 days. I will not. I apologize, but I will apologize, just not right now. Anyway, I see. You'll apologize for it. Mion said she didn't have much time, but she still brought me to the gate. She said she had a meeting or something today about Sunday's Watanagashi festival, so there would be a lot of people from the town council and the festival committee meeting. Despite her day being so busy, she still listened to what I had to say. If there's a God in heaven... If the guy dies, screw you, I was right. If there is a God in heaven, then he probably understands how strongly you feel. Yeah. I'm really sorry for being so weird today. You can pretend like this discussion never happened if you want. Okay. I'll forget about it. Okay. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. I had really only spent a short time with Mion. Talking to her made me think. It was clear that what Takano-san had told me, at least, wasn't a complete fabrication. If Mion was really, really unconnected to the incidents, then she probably wouldn't have listened to me so quietly. That's what she wants you to think. If she... Why the fuck would she admit it? Anyway. It's called plausible deniability, man. She heard me out until I was done without making any quips. And I wanted to think that was proof. That's it. Following your gut is, when it comes to your friends, that might be worth it. But though sometimes your gut is not... No, it's your brain that's dumb, not your gut. Anyway. I did kind of feel like I was grasping at straws. Of course, thinking back on it, it was a terrible thing to discuss. I mean, I went to my friend's house, called her a serial murderer, and then told her to kill Satoko's uncle. I was the only one talking that whole time. Mion quietly listened to everything I had to say like a pastor listening to a confession. She could have gotten angry partway through, told me off, and to go wash my face in miso soup and come back later. But she didn't. Was that proof that Mion's family at the Sonozaki were the masterminds? Or was she just listening because she felt sorry for me going kind of crazy? Honestly, I would believe either. Truly, a strategist to rival Sun Tzu. I don't know which it was. But it was the one effort I could make at the moment. I'm waiting for his brain cells to connect about something else. It was another form of insurance. That should worst come to worst, and the public agency decided to wait and see. It was a completely useless resistance. Literally grasping at straws. Since I said that if she reported it to the Child Consultation Center, they'd have to respond on the same day. Could they already be in the middle of responding to it now? If Satoko came to school tomorrow morning all energetic, then everything would be just a needless fear. Why couldn't tomorrow come faster? Alternatively, you could go to Satoko's house and find out, which is like walk back. Well, I mean, I know it's on the other side of town, but whatever. That night was unusually hot and humid, and I couldn't get to sleep. I said all that to Sensei. They couldn't possibly decide to wait and see again this year. Satoko. What was it like for her tonight? Had she tasted the end of her nightmare, enjoying a night of liberation? I actually put my hands together and prayed into my futon. Good morning, Keiichi-kun. Morning. Thank goodness. I thought you overslept today, too. Your mom said you'd gone on ahead yesterday, and then you weren't at school. I was worried that you had gotten heat stroke halfway there. Yeah. I'm very sorry for all the worry I caused you yesterday. Hey, good morning. Mi-chan, good morning. Are you all right? You look really tired. Oh, right. Wasn't there a big business meeting with all the people on the town council yesterday? They only called it that. It was more like a party. We have the festival every year, right? We wouldn't have any annoying meetings at this point. Are you going to help out with the festival this afternoon, then? Yep. I do have a meet and greet with all sorts of people in Grandma's place. Besides, they already started setting up for the festival. Our morning conversation was lighthearted as usual. It looked like Mion had thankfully forgotten about how I barged into her house yesterday with that crazy talk. The more I think back on it, I felt like I really said something terrible to her. I was really thoughtless, and it wouldn't have been weird if she'd yelled at me. It was highly possible Takano-san had exaggerated her story. To think that our comrade and friend, Mion, the young leader of the Sonozakis, one of the 3 families effectively controlling Hinamizawa, was pulling the strings behind the serial death incidents, was a little unbelievable. But if there was even a 1% chance that it was true, then what I said yesterday to Mion might have been a success. Yes, it was no more than 1 in 100. But that little bit of effort might have brought the chances of saving Satoko up by even a tiny bit. At least I'd made that effort. After yesterday ended, I was sure I'd done everything I possibly could. If there was something else I could do, it was probably just to clap my hands and pray that Satoka's uncle would be killed by the curse. Well, if there really was something else you could do, it'd be something that most humans would not consider under their moral compass, so that must be why you're not thinking about it. I hope Satoko makes it today. Me too. Sensei is doing things for her, right? I'm sure it will be fine. My aunt is a welfare agent in the Hinamizawa district. I gave her a call last night. Huh? I didn't know your aunt was a welfare officer. What happened? Did you tell her about Satoko-chan? Yep. J.I. called the Child Consultation Center right after we talked to her. A child welfare officer apparently visited before the night was over. That's kind of late. My aunt said that they were going to pay visits at regular intervals from now on. Enough with the dumb little stuff. I want to know what happened to Satoko. Did they get her safe? My aunt wasn't that informed about it. I was supposed to keep this a secret anyway. Her telling me was a big breach of ethics in the first place. Damn, that makes me feel even worse. Let's get to school. Right. Discussing this more would just make us feel worse. It was far quicker to go to school and see if Satoko was safe or not. The 3 of us nodded and ran off. We saw Satoko wasn't there. I ran off. Was Satoko safe? What measures had the Child Consultation Center taken? I didn't care what. As long as we could go back to our peaceful life with Satoko today, it didn't matter to me. At the shoe racks at the entrance, Rena took a peek in Satoko's shoe cubby. Ah, Satoko's shoes are here! They're here! Kei-chan, Satoko came! My goodness. We don't know if anything happened just because she came to school. We can't know anything until we see her face. We trotted towards the classroom. The classroom was lively, as it usually was in the morning. Satoko! Where are you?
Beep. She's right here.
It's too early in the morning to be so loud. Would you please keep it down a bit? Satoko-chan! Are you okay? All of our friends crowded around Satoko excitedly. A probation officer came, right? How did it go? Who was it that called them? I swear, it was quite a mess, you know. It was the teacher. You were absent for so long, of course she was worried. Satoko said, "I told you I'm fine," under her breath. She was still trying to overcome all the suffering on her own. It was a big bother to both me and my uncle. That person just barged on in on us suddenly. Jeez. Everyone was worried about you, Satoko. Don't say it was a bother. Oh, jeez. Anyway, what happened? Nothing happened. Ho ho ho. My cold got better, so I came back to school. That's all. I can't take too much time off from now on, because then you'll all worry about me. Ho ho ho. What was Satoko saying? Yeah, that nothing happened is giving me pause. What happened to, well, your uncle? Oh, he admitted there were some misunderstandings, and we both apologized. Ah. Tug. Rika-chan grabbed the back of my collar and pulled me away. What is it, Rika-chan? Rika-chan silently dragged me all the way into the hallway. Rika-chan? What did that mean? Satoko said nothing was happening and chased them away. That idiot! But why? No, somewhere in my mind, I thought it might turn out like this. Satoko didn't ask for anyone's help. She didn't hide behind anyone. She was trying to ride out this pain. I'm wondering if she's not just writing it out as like a trial to prove to her brother that she can, but she's hoping that maybe this will somehow bring her brother back. So she can either prove to him that she's strong enough, or he'll come and try to protect her, and that he's the only one she wants protecting her. Either way. Like, if you guys put a stop to this, then Satoshi really won't come back. I've wondered if that's the case, and the more this goes on, the more I'm thinking that's the case. She wanted to show Satoshi proof that if he came back to them, she wouldn't need to hide behind him anymore. But Coach said probation officers can bring her to safety in an emergency, even if it's against her wishes. However much Satoko denies the abuse, it's a fact. Chie-sensei finally came. Her expression was far from cheerful. Yes, you're right, my Barakun. If the child welfare officer determines that it's an emergency, they have the right to immediately take them to safety, regardless of the affected party's intent. Then why? Why is Satoko's intent being respected so much? It's weird. Why don't they put her into safety? Well, after looking into it from many angles, that's what the Okinomiya Child Consultation Center determined. What the hell is that? Sensei, didn't you say it was going to be alright since you definitely save her? What's the meaning of this? This doesn't make any sense. Answer me, damn it! Keiichi? This is actually the third time someone has reported Satoko's child abuse. Third? I thought it was second. It happened twice in the past 2. Furude-san. Sensei tried to stop her, but Rika-chan went on speaking anyway. Twice before? I heard that they decided to wait and see after reporting it the winter before last, but it happened before then too? Satoko's father, who died, wasn't her real father. What? Rika-chan, that's... What? I'm stunned at the sudden revelation. I had no idea what Rika-chan wanted to tell me, but it seemed really important, so I couldn't get a word in either. Satoko's mother remarried. She brought Satoko and Satoshi with her, so they weren't related by blood to their father. I'm beginning to wonder if the final points in that tip, because the last point in the first section was abuse by father, not by blood. Oh no. Satoshi was a good kid, one who listened politely to what adults told him. He was immediately welcomed by their new father and was loved. But Satoko was different. She was rebellious, she told lies, she played pranks. Her stepfather didn't like her at all. What? So, what do you mean? Put the dots together, buddy. Even before she was given to their uncle and his wife, Satoko didn't have a very good relationship with her family. Of course, her stepfather didn't have any malicious intent at the start. At first, he must have worked hard to get his new daughter to accept him. But the young Satoko didn't make any effort at all towards that end. She was distant towards her stepfather, and never opened her heart to him even a little. She just got on his nerves all the time, with seemingly forced lies and pranks. Her father's discipline and punishment must have been loving at first, of course, but that, too, faded quickly. I don't know, because I wasn't in Hinamizawa at the time. But I learned this on the phone yesterday. What story did you hear, Sensei? That Satoko-chan wanted to trick her parents, especially her stepfather, so she made up a false story and phoned the Child Consultation Center herself. She made up a story about hurting herself. Satoko made a fake phone call to try and get rid of the father she hated. Child welfare officers rushed there and heard the story. Her father genuinely apologized for a few times when he had gone too far and agreed to let the Child Welfare Center give him coaching. Related agencies looked into it quite a bit. They determined that Satoko-chan and her stepfather's hearts not being quite matched up was the cause of the incident. But they found another problem above that with Satoko-chan. A problem with Satoko? What was it? Satoko's mother. There were a few times where she had lived with de facto husbands, though those relationships didn't result in remarriage. From a young age, Satoko had been forced to call at least 2 or 3 people her father. At some point, Satoko's pranks escalated. She would spill food on purpose, turn over her plate, and even throw it. She would break the windows in the neighborhood and shoplift candy. She would put thumbtacks everywhere and set other traps to seriously hurt people. Not in the way she did now, just to get laughs. I mean, the thumbtacks thing, that one's still pretty far. She was also fond of telling lies that would be found out right away, and people got mad at her every time. But she never, ever changed her behavior. Please, don't think Satoko-chan was a problem child. Satoko-chan was young. Those were acts of self-defense that she took so these unknown men wouldn't take her mother from her. In regards to Satoko's problematic behavior, child psychology experts from public institutions indicated her actions were to draw her mother's attention to herself. They acknowledged that she had a form of harmful emotional trauma and declared that she needed counseling and therapy from professionals. They didn't know whether that therapy had healed the wounds in her heart. Satoko-chan purposely hurt herself and told them that she was being abused by her stepfather in an attempt to chase him out. But in the end, her stepfather did abuse her, right? No. All of the abuse had been made up by Satoko-chan. Her stepfather, of course, may have scolded her in a somewhat emotional way, but it was nothing out of the ordinary. Satoko had lied to chase away her stepfather. And they saw through her right away and found out that Satoko had issues. Oh, could it be that's why the winter before last they decided to wait and see?
Yes. The Child Consultation Center had all their past records, so they needed to act carefully in case Satoko was lying.
What the hell? So what? Satoko might be telling a lie, so they needed to be careful. So how does that mean they just end up waiting and seeing?
It was the girl who cried wolf.
I was thinking, yeah, it's like the girl who cried wolf, but she only did it like once, right? And then the aunt and uncle were actually abusive. And then, and like right now, it's like, she only cried wolf like once, right? And she had welts and bruises. Like, you can't lie about that, right? Well, I mean, sure, she could say she just tripped and fell down the stairs again, but come on. It still doesn't make sense. That fable about, see, but the boy who cried wolf lied multiple times, not just once, right? That was the problem, is he told one too many lies to when it was the truth, nobody believed him. I'm pretty sure it wasn't once. At least that's not the version I recall. Anyway, that fable about telling a lie once, or so, making others unwilling to believe you later. That's bullshit! The past has nothing to do with this, does it? Only what's really happening right now is important. Also because Satoko wasn't the one who made the call here. It was Chie speaking for the others. Or maybe, I guess they're worried that maybe, okay, this is a reach. This is a reach. Because it's like someone else made the call. Other people are saying Satoko's the one being abused. Satoko herself is not the one lying, but what if, and this is a bit of a reach, what if they are hesitating because they think Satoko might have lied about her abuse to friends, and that's why, like, it's like, okay, so instead of lying to us directly, you lied to a friend who is now convinced, and then convinced other people that something is going on. It's still dumb. Satoko is being abused by her uncle. Why is something that happened in the past getting in the way of helping her now? Neither Sensei nor Rika-chan had anything to say to that. Probably because they agree it's also bullshit.
Anyway, yesterday, a probation officer visited to carefully determine what was going on.
And Satoko dealt with them, put on the best, strongest smile she could manage, and denied the abuse. Of course, she was probably being threatened to keep quiet about it by her uncle, or she's being stupid and thinking this is a trial to prove that she's strong enough to take it. Satoko was trying to outlast everything without asking for help. Satoko wanted to wait for Satoshi to come back home. And she outright denied the truth of the abuse. What an idiot. What? You're not really enduring it. Do you really think pretending like this will actually bring Satoshi back? Just stop it already. Satoshi, he abandoned you. And the fact that he hasn't shown up to save you now is proof, isn't it? So just stop it. Please stop being weird and pretending to endure it. Forget everything we just said. Understand? If you tell anyone else, your teacher will be very mad with you. Chie-sensei gave me a warning, then left to go back to the teacher's lounge.
Keiichi, please don't think Satoko is a pathetic, pitiful girl. She's living life.
I know that. She's our irreplaceable friend.
Satoko is still trying her best. Let's watch over her a little longer. The person from the consultation center said they'd visit periodically from now on. If something terrible happens, they'll help her right away.
Yeah, but only after it happens. Any more than that would have sounded like I was picking a fight. So I firmly swallowed my next words and went back to the classroom. Mion and Rena were talking to Satoko like they always did. It was a silly conversation. A humorous, even fun one, like it was any old day. If Satoko really said she could still endure it, then maybe I should do as Rika-chan said and watch over her. Maybe whatever help I offer will just go unwanted. Well, you know, sometimes when we want a miracle, God provides us the tools to make a miracle, and he just wants us to do it ourselves, which I don't blame. You know, it's like he's not gonna come down and save you himself. He's gonna give you the tools to make sure you can help yourself. Anyway, I'm gonna run a quick ad because that was a chapter pause, and I gotta get up and pace. God damn it! And also hydration check and stretch, and all this stuff. Save your work. Satoko, you fool! I got a can of
Terra flavored bubble milk tea, even if like the tapioca balls in this are actually bullshit based on the first one of these I had. I need to treat myself to something. I'm getting frustrated and upset. Saving this. Okay, that's very good.
Okay, there we go. Moving on.
Okay, why don't we all have lunch? It's been a while since it's been all 5 of us. This really is how it has to be.
Just waiting for Keiichi to just snap and be ready to... I'm just gonna say, I'm ready for him to snap and commit murder on the uncle. That's gotta be where we're going, right? Use the cover of the curse to get away with it.
Here, here. Come on, you too, Kei-chan. Bring your desk over. Satoko brought her own desk over as well, grinning broadly. Even knowing nothing had been resolved, this exchange was pleasant and made me remember how fun it used to be.
I can't have Rika making a bento for me forever. I don't mind. I have fun making your bento.
Rika-chan's such a good girl. Having such a good friend must be so reassuring.
I put the big steak in mine and the burnt one in Satoko's. So if it was just Satoko, it would be so sad, so very sad. Nipa!
I take it back. Well, she's Rika-chan after all.
Nipa! Hey, come on, look! I've got omelet rice today.
Oh my god, one of these days I actually really want to get omelet. I need to see if there's a restaurant near me that'll actually serve omelet rice. We're getting a lot of ramen and poke places near here. Maybe it's Omurice's turn. Come on. Anyway.
Mushrooms and stuff.
Oh, you have mushrooms in it too. I'll look it up later. I typed it in so I won't forget, because I know I'll forget. But anyway. And yes, I know it's probably easy to make. You just have a fried rice and you, like, have a nice thin layer of egg on top. But I know it's really hard to get that omelet just right, but
I say it every time, but your craftsmanship is splendid. You could become a wife whenever and not have a problem. Wife, eating a wife.
What? Eating a wife? You want to eat out a what? I'm sorry. No, don't make joke. Using the word wife is totally forbidden around Rena. Please don't say it again. Now I will say it 5 times. I'll think about what I've done. A little. By the way, what's in your lunch, Mion? It looks different again today. We're all waiting in anticipation. It's a rich assortment of side dishes left over from what my uncle brought last night. You just said the cursed word. Uncle. The stew looks really great, huh? The color of the radishes, too. Really good, right?
Wow, it looks delicious.
Stew tastes best when it's left overnight. Yep, let those flavors all mingle. This looks like it would be really good. And so there will be none left for Satoko. I'll eat it all and tell you what I think, so just be quiet and watch.
What was that? Hand over my portion, too.
Elbow, punch, headbutt. I'll use my knees too. Or yeah.
Oh, at close range like this, my advantage is unwavering. Keiji-san, the daikon in your portion tastes really good.
Damn it. Coming right for me from the start and using a combo attack. Oh, humiliating. This little exchange. How long had it been? It looked like they'd ended up going with the wait-and-see approach, but maybe her uncle had realized he'd gone a little too far and would dial it back now. Copium. If her treatment improved a little, would that be a good thing? Satoko was grinning wider than I'd ever seen as she chomped down on her mouthful of the daikon she'd plundered from me. Did it really taste that good? Oh, why do you look dead inside? Satoko was somewhat cute like that. You sure? Buddy? 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 God, hide text box for a minute. She looks dead inside. This is not the look of cute. This music is not fitting. Look at that face. She better perk up within the next few lines, because otherwise I don't see why her eyes look soulless. And just as I'd done many times, I grabbed her head and started petting it. Catch. Smack, flip-flop, clatter, clatter. Huh? Oh. Oh no. Was that a defensive reaction? Like a reaction to trauma or something? Oh no. The music cutting out and the implications are just,
Satoko-chan?
It was so sudden that for a moment I didn't know what had happened. The back of my hand was stinging. I went to pet Satoko's head, and then she hit my hand? What's wrong, Satoko? Satoko was scratching at her head, as though a pimple or something had appeared on it and became itchy. The distorted Higurashi cries have me very concerned. It was so sudden and so unprovoked that I didn't understand what happened. She got triggered. The uncle must have done something related to, like, touching her. Like, whether touching her on her head in, like, false kindness, or even just laying a hand on her at all. So she fought back. She was triggered. That, I'm assuming that's what happened. It was so sudden and so unprovoked that I didn't understand what happened. What's wrong, Satoko? At some point, her body had been covered in a thin layer of sweat, and her breathing had turned ragged. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a trigger. When I pet her head, did she not like it? Was that what it meant? No, it's something more extreme than that. Because A, yes, you used to do it, but B, if she didn't want you to, she could just slap your hand away and then say, don't do that. Instead, she's breathing oddly, she's sweating up a storm. She does not look okay. This is more than just not liking the head being pet. I'm pretty sure this is a trauma-related triggered reaction. Hey, did you dislike being petted? Once again, slowly, I held out the palm of my hand and brought it close to Satoko's head. The instant the palm of my hand touched her head, there was a shock like static electricity, and Satoko began to howl. I wouldn't call it, that sound more like a whale. That going yeah. That doesn't sound like a howl. That sounds more like a descriptor for wailing. Anyway, thud slam. She grabbed my arm in both hands, and as if flinging off a snake trying to cling to her, as if trying to throw away something dirty, she threw it violently. It happened too suddenly for me to react. I hit the desk behind me, and both it and I fell to the floor. The classroom fell deathly silent. As Satoko bellowed, it sounded like she was in the throes of death, and she unsteadily backed away. Yeah, definitely triggered. Then she threw up the food she'd just eaten. She vomited it all back up. That can't be good, especially if she's being malnourished. The sound of Satoko's vomit hitting the floor rang through the classroom. Are you okay, Satoko? You seem sick. I reached out a hand and she swatted it away with all her might. Stop trying to touch her, bro. With such extreme strength that I fell onto the floor again. Satoko put both hands on her head as though protecting it, groaned some more, and took a few steps back. And then she began swinging both hands around. Students in nearby seats were forced to evacuate. She grabbed anything within reach, bento boxes, chairs, threw them, tossed them, and flung them about. Wait, stop it, Satoko! What's wrong with you? She screamed out as if Mion's words had caused her physical pain. No one spoke a word to her. All the students were withdrawing behind us, leaving Satoko alone in the corner of the classroom. Around her, there were desks and chairs all over the floor. Bento lay scattered. It was terrible. All I could hear was Satoko's ragged breaths and the voices of the cicadas. I'm sorry. The strings of tension loosened around Satoko. And maybe she suddenly grew scared of her own actions because she started trembling and gave a word of apology. But nobody knew just who that apology was directed towards. So, for now, I decided to answer as everyone's representative. No, it's fine. Are you all right?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Our words didn't match each other at all. Satoko hugged her shoulders, and back she went. She ran into the locker with the cleaning supplies in it. Even that made her give a little yelp. The impact caused the bucket atop the locker to fall, making a loud sound, and that scared Satoko most of all. Maybe sounding like stuff being thrown about in a house in an angry fashion, like a scary, intimidating sort of method. She almost jumped out of her skin, grabbing a bunch of the curtain in her hands. Nobody spoke to her. They could only look, not even remembering to blink.
I'm sorry. It wasn't me.
Satoko, what on earth? I stood up, took a step away from everyone, and approached Satoko. What happened?
I said, I don't know. You're wrong. Please stop, please forgive me.
Just calm down. Satoko, do you know who I am?
No more. I hate this.
Every time I took a step forward, she grasped the curtains more tightly and cried out. Satoko, it's me. It's Keiichi. Don't you recognize me? Don't raise your voice. I see an exclamation mark. Don't do that. I would never, ever hurt you.
No.
Oh, God. This is what somebody tried telling her before. The I wouldn't hurt you thing, right? Come on, calm down. Also, you're raising your voice, which isn't helping. This Speak calmly and softly. He's an idiot. He wouldn't think that. It's all right. I'm your friend.
Help me! I don't want to be scared. It feels bad. No, I don't.
Suddenly, my shoulders were grabbed and I was dragged backward. It was Rena. Yeah, if it's not working, don't repeat the actions, friend.
Sorry, Keiichi-kun. You get a little farther back.
After pulling me, she ran towards Satoko in my place.
It's okay, Satoko-chan. There's nothing to be scared of. Please, don't worry. No more. No more of that. Nini, help me.
Oh God, what did he do to her?
Nini, help me.
As she gripped the curtains and kept calling for Nini, she continued to wail about being forgiven for something and to be saved from something. What is this? I don't like where my mind's going, if we're assuming. Mion gnashed her teeth and groaned, and there were tears falling from her firmly closed eyes. What the hell? What is this? Didn't this all come to an end yesterday? Weren't we supposed to go back to our old lives? Mion! There was a crazy sound. Rena had taken this cleaning... Sorry, let me try that again. Rena had taken the cleaning supply locker and kicked it down to the ground. Everyone stood surprised at Rena's unexpected act of brutality. After that, Rena embraced the bawling Satoko from behind and started crying with her, stifled. Rena, what's wrong?
Sorry. Keiichi-kun, be quiet for a minute.
What is it now? What happened? What did Satoko tell you? What did you hear? Shut the hell up! I was gonna say, she said be quiet for a minute, bro. Calm. Just give it a minute. I told you to shut your mouth, asshole! Rena's raw, hostile emotion hit me like a brick. It was no more than a momentary howl of emotion for Rena. But it was more than that for me. Satoko must have told Rena what happened, and Rena is just so mad she can't even pretend to make light of the situation, or just pretend that things are okay, like she usually does. That's what I'm thinking. She had shown me what was behind all that emotion. What was in her heart.
Oh. Satoko-chan. No more. Forgive us. We couldn't do anything for you. Forgive us. Nini.
Oh, she just wants her goddamn brother, man.
I'm sorry.
Forgive us for being unable to do anything. Rena's words made me feel as though the blood vessels in the back of my head were suddenly all turning to ash. My vision grew distant, blurred with gray, and the world lost its color. I thought we could save Satoko. But though I knew it'd be the sooner the better, I thought there was no time limit for doing that. I never even dreamed that we could be I'd been making a huge mistake. I thought Satoko could be hurt, but never that she'd break. It was such a huge mistake. People, they break. Thinking that they don't is absolutely absurd. We needed to save Satoko. We needed to save her before she broke. That fatal lapse in awareness had brought this on. Whose fault was it? That went without saying. Mine. No. Ours. No. I'm gonna say the one at fault is the uncle. Yes, I was pissed at y'all for, not acting for 3 days at one point. Now you actually were actively trying to do what you could. And it still amounted to nothing in this situation. At least you tried. That's not on you. Everybody around you, even Coach was saying, just give it some time. Satoko wants to try to do this on her own. It is not on you. All the blame goes to the uncle for whatever despicable actions he has done. That is the only one who needs to be blamed right now. We all took on the duty of saving Satoko, but we were negligent to the point of laziness. In that sense, this was the inevitable result. Even if this didn't happen today, and it happened tomorrow, or the day after, or next week, we would have just sat around doing nothing until that day. So this was the obvious result. I slumped down to my knees, just as Mion and Rika-chan had done. And I, too, closed my eyes tight and couldn't stop myself from sobbing. Yeah, I was thinking, there's a lot of noise going on. Where the fuck is the teacher? She could probably hear this. Maybe at first she wondered, oh, it's just Satoko's back. They're probably just playing pranks on each other again. But then as we hear Satoko screaming and then Rena screaming, that's probably when she's like, oh, okay, something's going on. Hold up. What is all the noise about? Wait, what's happened? The teacher came, and her face screwed up at the terrible spectacle before her. The instant she realized the teacher was here, Satoko went through another complete change. She's masking to high hell. She wiped her face with the curtains and, like nothing happened, smiled.
Hojo-san? What on earth is going on here? I just got into a little squabble with Rena-san, is all. We went a little crazy over our lunches. Right?
Rena didn't nod in reply. But then, since Satoko wished it, god damn it, I was like, Rena didn't nod. Yes! But then since Satoko wished it, she nodded without strength. No. Something is wrong. Satoko, something is terribly wrong. We can't... You can't just pretend this all is going to go away at this point. The rest of the class couldn't keep up with her extreme changes. We all just stared in a daze. She's trained herself to do that. Absolutely. She trained herself to hide the abuse at this point.
Oh, it's just a little horseplay. I scared everyone out of their wits.
Satoko would probably sweep the whole thing under the rug. For what? Her heart is torn to pieces. So what else? You wanted your Nini to help, didn't you? But unfortunately for you, Satoshi doesn't ever intend on coming back. It's never that easy. He won't just conveniently show up and save you. So you don't have to wait for him anymore. You can cry, beg for help, and you can run away. We can't do anything, Mion suddenly said. Please tell me the teacher heard that. Please tell me Please tell me one of y'all is gonna say what the fuck happened. She spoke then, those few words that had tormented me countless times. Those words were a spell, and when I heard them, my whole body suddenly regained its calm. What, did you snap? Have you snapped? Has the murderous intent woken up inside you? My emotions all slipped away like they'd never been there. Like a wave departing. And he snapped. The music tells me he mega snapped. And then the world's color flipped inside out. My field of view expanded. My head grew remarkably cold, and I felt like my mind's volume had grown even wider than the classroom we were in. At the time, my soul was doubtlessly no longer in the small, petty vessel of my head, but floating in the air a little bit above it. Ah yes, death techno. It was a mysterious feeling of release. I broke free of the cramped confines of my skull. Oh, is that all you needed to do to think? Just had to break your skull a little? And stretched out my roots in all directions as far as I wanted to. It was a strange feeling, and one I'd never felt before. An odd sense of exhilaration. My sharpened senses caused me to transcend, and then he just collapses on the floor, blacked out. Oh, he finally had a stroke. Too many thoughts at I'm thinking, ah! My mind was sharper than a knife's edge, and I immediately decided that spending the time to let myself be crushed with grief would be an absolute waste. I erased all the garbage information in my brain. God, I wish I could do that. I expels the pointless emotions presenting obstacles to action. Mion, you curse it all you want. Curse your powerlessness as much as you want. Huh? If I could have taken back what happened by crying about it, I'd have cried all day. His head just does the scanner's thing spontaneously. But the fact was, this was how things had turned out. I couldn't take back what had happened. The top priority then would be to prevent the situation from worsening further and to sever the chains of misfortune. Until today, I'd been looking at things so narrow-mindedly, I could scarcely believe it. To save Satoko. The only thing to do was to save Satoko. That's the only thing I thought about. I didn't allow myself to realize the most basic, direct, and certain way of removing the source of Satoko's unhappiness. No, actually, I realized it yesterday. But as for the means, I'd relied on some stupid curse from some dumb deity. I never considered carrying the task out myself. I would obliterate Satoko's uncle. There are plenty of ways to do it. This was a task that held infinite methods. Ironically, the method of saving Satoko required mostly money, but the method of killing that man pretty much took no money at all. I could kill him with the least amount of investment. The least amount of money suited him. It was only the weight of his life. I kept eliminating needless, worthless information from my head, replenishing it with only the knowledge I'd need to achieve my goal. I used every cell, every one cell that I had, just the singular one in my brain, to think about how I'd kill him. Well, actually, no, he probably has more than one now. The way I killed him didn't matter. I would allow any method from whatever time and whatever country, as long as it ended in a quick and certain death. If I were to have an additional condition, it would be to not get caught. Removing him was an act designed to return the peaceful times we had with Satoko. If I was arrested in exchange for the removal, then we might as well have killed each other. With only him gone, we'd be back to our normal lives. That was my supreme objective. My ultimate goal. Kill him. Definitely. But definitely, don't leave evidence either. Two alternatives at odds with one another. The condition of not leaving a trace back to me automatically narrowed the number of murder methods. He's getting logical, oh no! He's like, any method will do. Actually, no, strike that. Don't leave evidence. That narrows it notably. Hold on. The numbers are flying in front of his face. He's in his mind palace. And then he forgot how to breathe, right? Let's see. Kill, death, murder, get away with it. What else am I supposed to do? I forgot. I threw out my name, and I threw out the knowledge of how to breathe. Emotion gone, just cold hard logic. Yep. Protect is, yep. I had a feeling. I had a feeling. He wants to protect Satoko so bad. I was like, and watch nothing happen because we are in a horror visual novel. He's gonna be like, nope, time to take it in my own hands. Let's do this. Murder time. But also, if I am assuming what Rena heard from Satoko correctly, murder might be too kind. Quick murder might be too kind. Especially considering the implications from the last tip. Like, genuinely, if that's really what happened, if that's really what made Rena snap, like, that badly, the implications, where my mind is going, the death might be too nice to this uncle, if we're being honest, but it will be better for Satoko, so death it must be. Anyway, the condition of not leaving a trace back to me automatically narrowed the number of murder methods. No witnesses was an absolute must. Fortunately, given the right time in Hinamizawa, there would be nobody around. You need to plan fast, buddy. You got less than you got about like 24 hours. Or maybe a little over. The point is, tomorrow. Tomorrow night. That's when you do this. I mentally reconstructed the land around Satoko's house. You could, like, fucking, like, his mind palace, he could just, like, summon, like, holograms, like, fucking Tony Stark style. He's like, so this is the layout. I meant to, man, he needed to snap a long time ago, because now he can actually think. He finally has more than one brain cell that he doesn't have to share with his other self inside, who tells him to calm the fuck down. I mentally reconstructed the land around Satoko's house. The number of pedestrians different at different times. The movement algorithm of the neighbor- MOVEMENT ALGORITHM! He's straight up Tony Starking this, I swear. Would I lure him out or charge at him? What would my weapon be? When and where would I carry this out? Where? It needed to be somewhere I wouldn't leave a trace. When? It needed to be as soon as possible for Satoko's safety without wasting even a millisecond. This is absurd. Completely absurd. When I thought about it this way, it struck me how easy the act of killing was. If I could leave evidence, if I was just going to kill him, anyone could easily turn into a murderer. Apparently, murderous urges awaken his dormant brain self. Ah, yes, your true calling. You have finally awoken to your true self. You are meant to be a murderer. Have you heard of something called Danganronpa? But our reason prevented that. It told us doing so would get us arrested, for sure. Actually, no, for me, that's not my the real reason for me is that it is immoral to take the life of another living being. However, this man that we're talking about killing has no morals if he actually did what I think he did to Satoko. Arresting is not my problem here. In the end, being arrested by the police was the final thing preventing people from committing homicide or a moral compass. But whatever, you've let go of all emotion, so you in that case, your sense of morality doesn't exist anymore either. Other than, is it good for Satoko? Yes or no. That is your only moral compass now. Oh, parentheses, hold on. In the end, being arrested by the police was the final thing preventing people from committing homicide. Absurd. If you went all the way out into the very middle of the ocean, you wouldn't leave any trace at all. Anyone would drop those they hated into the depths if they knew that. It was all too easy to simply remove him. I could leave class right now, grab a metal baseball bat or something from the schoolyard, go to his house and attack him! Estimated time would be 25 minutes. If I wanted us to kill each other, it wouldn't even be minutes. I could do it in 1,500 seconds. That is so specific. Dude, he truly ascended. I knew just how much his continued existence depended on me. He was nothing. I could expel him from this world within just 1,500 seconds after making up my mind. From when I decided what to do, he only had 1,500 seconds. Actually, if I ran full speed to his house, that number would go down even further. Ooh, I like the sound of that. But he was alive. He was still part of this world at this very moment, having torn Satoko's body and mind to shreds. Why? Because I was letting him live. I was permitting him to live, so he was alive. If I rescinded that permission, he would be evacuating this mortal coil within 1,500 seconds. You think I'd let you live to breathe even 1,500 more seconds of air? I'm taking that permission back right here, right now. Someone's gonna knock him unconscious any second now because he's looking a little loopy and probably laughing maniacally. You'd better thank me for letting you live until today. However, I actually needed more than 1,500 seconds. I'm not just gonna end you. Getting back our old lives is far more important. It's only you I'll be cleanly cutting out of this world. They won't find a culprit. I'll forget that I dirtied my hands on the likes of you as naturally as I brush my teeth before bed. So, to do that, I'll make a special exception for you and give you more than 1,500 seconds. I'll give you special permission to keep on living as you have until I can construct the perfect plan for your murder. Wait, Keiichi, you can't let that time go to waste. Yeah, I know. I'll kill him quickly. I'll remove him with certainty. I won't even waste much time to perfect that plan. Think back. Tomorrow is Watanagashi, isn't it? Last year, on the night of Watanagashi, her aunt died. Her head was busted open by some deviant and her brain splattered everywhere. That's it. He's someone who deserves to be given death on the night of Watanagashi. Hey, Oyashiro-sama, you call yourself a guardian, but you didn't protect Satoko. Cursing Satoko's family for the damn stuff is your own business, but now you've made Satoko unhappy when she didn't have anything to do with it. I, Keiichi Maibara, wow, I can't even speak. I, Keiichi Maibara, hereby denounce you, the guardian deity of Hinamizawa, a failure. We don't need you. Go back to the deepest, darkest part of your shrine this year. Besides, if you had just cursed and killed both her aunt and uncle last year, none of this would have ever happened. The curse this year, it's not on you. I'll be the one deciding. It won't be the 3 families controlling the serial murder deaths behind the scenes. No, not some vague people who I can't tell if they're buffoons or not. This time, I, the guaranteed buffoon, I'll be the one to deliver their divine judgment. So don't get in my way. Just watch. Stay quiet. And watch. I'll obliterate him. Call me Exodia, he getting obliterated. I'll wipe him off the face of the earth. I will stomp out his very existence. Go away, disappear, and die. I'll tear your heart apart just like you did to Satoko. I'll have your blood as payment. I'm not doing a slow-mo warg, but okay. He in fight zone. Cut back to reality.
Keiichi-kun, are you alright?
Cut back to just the techno music, and he's like, yes, the Mind Palace, the numbers, they're all working. Rena, Mion, and Rika-chan were looking after me. Had I fallen to the floor?
You surprised us. You suddenly fell down. Were you having a nightmare? You were moaning.
Shut it. Quit squeaking at me like that. Oh, he full on snapped. My friends gave a start and backed away. What? Rena and the others, they exchanged glances, unsure of what to say, and stood confused for a few moments.
Was that your voice, Keiichi-kun?
Of course it was. Rena gulped firmly and opened her mouth.
For a second, Keiichi-kun, your eyes were really scary.
My eyes? Probably just a trick of the light. Don't waste my time. I'm not mistaken. I've never seen those kind of eyes before. What were these guys talking about? They've all been too scared of me lately.
You are Keiichi Maibara-kun, right?
What was Rena saying? Who else do I look like except Keiichi Maibara? The look I gave her seemed to speak quite eloquently to those irritated thoughts. She understood and quickly apologized.
I'm sorry. Don't worry about it.
He mega snapped. He's now reverse Goku, apparently. Well, time for murder. Alright, I will say, since it's like 3:20 in the morning, that is going to be the last chapter for now. I am eager to get back to 1500 seconds. Reached an epiphany. An epiphany I had ever since we saw what was happening to Satoko, if I'm being honest. Listen. You do immoral shit like that, you abuse a child, I feel like you revoke your right to live on this plane of existence. Just saying. The brain damage inverted his personality in the other direction. Yep. Alright. Let's look at these tips, and then we wrap it up. Emergency, it's a grayscale. Interesting. And then D2-3, number 44. Interesting. Alright, but let's start with the emergency. June 18th, 1983. Abuse issues regarding Satoko Hojo. Parentheses. Urgent. All caps. We propose that Satoko Hojo must be taken into immediate custody based on the items below. Hold on. Actually, real quick, what year are we, is this game taking place in? I know it's the 1980s, but I can't remember what the exact year is. 83, 87? I don't know why 7 stands out in my mind. Anyway. 1. Family situation. Life with adoptive father who recently returned to Hinamizawa has already turned disastrous, and she is currently subject to unendurable physical and mental abuse from the father. 1983. Okay, so this is current. This is like right now. 2. Child Consultation Center's response. A child probation officer was dispatched yesterday on the 17th from the prefecture welfare house, but because of the 77 case, changed to continued coaching and cautionary action. Fucker. Unfortunately, the consultation office head does not properly understand the situation. 3. Status of concerned child. Child already appears to be suffering from an outbreak of something close to neurosis or manic depression. She is too young to be going through either of those. If her unstable, pubescent mind is negatively stimulated by stress, it will put her development of a healthy body and mind at risk. This cannot be allowed to continue from a humane standpoint. 4. Allegations made to the family court. We propose, based on the above items, that Satoko Hojo should immediately be taken into protective custody. She should be secured temporarily under emergency allegations to the family court under Article 28. We request emergency coordination between all related agencies. Okay, that also tells me that plans are in motion, but they're not happening fast enough to stop Keiichi Murderbara. Alright, now D2-3, number 44. Those are certainly characters. Those are certainly alphanumerical characters. Children with special needs. General, D2-3, number 44. From 1977. Child name, Satoko Hojo. Blank years old. Residence, Hinamizawa Village, Shishibone. Why put a blank in her age? Why put a blank in her age? I feel like we have a rough idea of how old she's supposed to be, so why put a blank there? Anyway. 1. Consultation circumstances. Telephone SOS from child of child abuse. 2. Abuse situation. Child claims she is being physically abused by her adoptive father. 3. Family structure. Marks abusers. Or, I guess, circle. Circle marks abusers. Circle, adoptive father, real mother, older brother, child in question. Note, adoptive father and real mother enter family registry in 19 blank. The child is the daughter of the mother's previous husband. 4. Child Consultation Center's response. On the day of the child's telephone consultation, the center called the child's school and asked of her situation. On that day, the child welfare officer on duty visited the child's house and conducted an interview. The adoptive father sincerely listened to instruction and agreed to take child-raising workshops in the city from now on. Excuse me. As part of the suggested coaching, the center will continue to observe the situation. 5. Other notes. As a result of numerous counseling sessions at the city's education consultation office regarding the child, we learned there was a high possibility the cause of the child's excessive distrust towards her adoptive father was the result of a lack of communication. The abuse she claimed hadn't actually taken place. She had made a false report to distance herself from her adoptive father. Below is a note written in pencil by the person on duty at the time. The problem appeared to be more with the daughter. Chief Investigator F of the city's education consultation office said that most of her stories of abuse were likely fabrications. They decided to shift the focus of their coaching to the child. Be cautious not to take everything the child says as truth. And that's why she ended up in this situation. Anyway, time to save that. We are at chapter... We have reached the end of chapter 8, which means we are entering chapter 9. Chapter 9, we gotta have a murder, I am sure. Okay, real quick, looking at achievements to keep track. Let's see, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more achievements to go. So 6 more
6 related chapter achievements. So 6 more chapters to go through. Wow. I'm excited. I am excited. We got murder on the plate, folks, and for once, we know who the murderer is.
But also hearing that there might be plans to help her. It's gonna be a little awkward. If the murder do take place. But who knows, maybe we'll be able to put it under the guise of the curse. But yeah, that's going to have to do it for now because it's almost 3:30 and I'm trying to get so much better at straightening out my schedule. So, let's go ahead and figure out who we gonna raid, and then next time we get to Higurashi, it's gonna be murder time.